girl. How you is? How you is?
I is good. I's on fire.
Yeah, you is. I love you, Miss Ida. Can't
I
wait to
love you.
put my arms around you again and squeeze you.
Hopefully it's going to be really soon. I have to tell you guys, my misfit heart got broke this week.
Oh, what happened?
I'm not going to get to see my misfits in the end of June.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I know the Lord's got something amazing planned for all of us, so I'm just really excited for what's going to happen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my video off, and I'm not going to pop on and say anything unless the Lord leads me to. So I'm going to go quiet, but I am here praying with you guys and in complete support of what's going to happen, okay?
That's
Love it,
awesome.
love it.
Thank you, Ida. Love you.
Love you too.
Hey, good morning, Misfits. Yeah, I think there's just going to be, just buckle up. You know, we'll probably be one of the few calls where you can go sell seatbelts for your chairs. So hope everybody's doing well. Good morning, everybody. My name is Sean Murphy, founder of the Misfit community, and in such a way that I just started and decided to get out of my own way. December 18th, 2018. And some amazing things have happened since then. Yeah, y'all are absolutely incredible. So this morning, it's the weekend edition. It's Sunday. We had a blessing prayed over us as we got started. We got more people who are joining us. So I'm going to ask.
Did I miss the blessing? That's why I wanted to get here on time.
Nope, you didn't miss it. You didn't miss it. We had people sharing and showing up and already saying blessings and prayers. So it's all good. So now we're going to get RBP, who's out there, and let's see if that connection holds up, because now she's getting into her realm.
Yeah.
Good morning, Rhonda.
Okay, let's pray right quick. Heavenly Father, thank you for this glorious day. Thank you for breath in our lungs yet again, one more day, another day you wake us up. Thank you for the song you put in my heart today, waking up singing praises to you, glorifying you, excited to be with my friends and my family all around the globe. Thank you for letting this reach everywhere you needed it to reach, and to every single person you needed it to reach. Thank you for the hearts that you joined together, the friendships that you've connected in the spiritual realm, and hopefully soon we'll all be together physically one day to see each other's faces right in front of us. Father, thank you for the connections. Thank you for Sean. Thank you for him being consistent. And thank you for stiffening his spiritual spine and rising him up to be exactly where and what and when he needed to be. Thank you for this, God. Thank you for your divine connection, your divine intervention. I pray blessings over this whole phone call, over every heart that's here, and over every family and household that's present. Pour forth your blessings spiritually, financially, physically, every way possible you have for us. Open the floodgates and let them pour forth. Be with us as we go through this call. Let it glorify and honor you, and let it minister to each one of us exactly how we need it. And we give you all the glory and praise in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Y'all, good morning. So, first line of my devotional says, bring me your mind for rest and renewal. I guess we could start there. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you all. This morning, go ahead and send out your 3 messages of joy, of gratitude, of love, of letting people know that you think they're pretty special. Let them know that, and make space for yourself. That's the thing I think that's pretty amazing, is that you get to make space for yourself when you send out that joy, that gratitude, that love for others. Yeah, I've been sending out messages for quite a while now. Hey, and yeah, it's a pretty amazing time right now. So go ahead and send out your 3 messages, and when you send out your 3 messages and you're done, drop a D in the chat. and we'll have some conversation. So the thing that I have awakened to is the now what? Right? We have these amazing moments. I've been blessed in my life and in my careers of the things that I do to do some pretty amazing things. And yesterday was pretty special to be present and to just show up. So one of the things, if you've studied personal mindset, one of the challenges that they had when the astronauts came back from the moon, I know this is like, wait a minute, whoa, we just went from prayer to the moon? Yeah, well, why not? So few things around here seem to operate linear. So the thing that happens here now is when the astronauts came back from the moon and they gave them ticker tape parades and they had them to speak and talk at different places, they became depressed. What? They're astronauts. Yeah. This is what happens when you do something that nobody else can do. Well, wait a minute, Sean. None of us are sitting here as astronauts. You might be surprised. You might be surprised. We're not sitting here as astronauts. We're sitting here as our own individuals. And we're sitting here every day doing what it is we can do. We are stepping into the unknown every single day. It would serve us well to be jumping up in joy because the sun rose at the particular time it was supposed to rise, and the moon stayed where it was, and Jupiter stayed where it was, and the earth is still spinning at the exact same speed it spun yesterday, at the exact same tilt it was yesterday. All of this in a solar system that's absolutely incredible, but yet it's the tiniest speck in the cosmos. And then when we wake up sometimes and we find ourselves in a not so good mood. Everything else in the cosmos is operating under the rules that were set forth by the Creator. Because I don't think he just made our solar system, right? Didn't he make all the stars, the heavens, the moons, all of that stuff? Didn't all of that happen? And then we wake up with a human thought that somebody didn't join us in business, or somebody didn't do this, or somebody didn't do that, or I forgot to do this. Or it's when you decide that you want to be the one you want to be, you'll have an amazing experience of awakening to yourself. This is why we need community. We absolutely, positively, beyond a shadow of a doubt, need community. And the way that we need community is to make sure that we have a community that needs us. Wait, what? I thought this isn't about me. It's not. But life does seem a little bit better when we can have people who need us. And what do they need us for? They need you for the thank you just sent out. That's what they need you for. Sometimes the smallest little thank you, sometimes the smallest little, listen, you've got some friends. How many of you have friends, close friends, that if you sent them the poop emoji with a heart, they would know exactly what you're talking about? You get me? Yeah, Jeremy raised his hand. I raised my hand. I see smiles on your faces. You could send them the heart emoji and the poop emoji, and they go, man, they just love the crap out of me. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's connection. Thank you, Erica. It serves us. Listen, this is the hard part. It serves us well when we laugh. It serves us well when we laugh. Right? I think it says there in the book, He looked at everything he made and he said, you know what, this is good. And he might have even given us the Jim Carrey, Bruce Almighty. This is good. It's good. It's good. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are good. So, that being said, now what? Now what? What do you do now? What do you do now that life needs to happen a little bit easier? What do you do now that life needs to happen a little bit smoother? What can you do? What can you do for you today? We had a couple of prayers already start this morning. What happens if you pray today? What happens if you sing today? What happens if you dance today? What happens if you tell people thank you today? Does it make sense? So now what? Now what happens? You keep going forward, right? We talk about it all the time. Are you standing on the edge of the frontier? And then there's the plain. There's everything that you've already done in life. There's the territory of life, right? Les Brown said it this way, and it just popped into my head. A Saturday ago, he said, life is a fight for territory. Life is a fight for territory. And funny how he says that, and it didn't dawn on me when I heard him say it. But we talk about standing in the frontier. Imagine the frontier of the days of old. There's the frontier. There's the next mountain. There's the next valley. There's the next tundra. And then there's everything that you know that's behind you called the plains. Your entire life up until this moment, you know what it looks like. And then where you stand right now, in this moment, and in this moment, every moment that clicks by, you are standing at the edge of the frontier. The question is will it pass over you? Will it pass over you the way water passes over a stone in the river? Or will you be the salmon and swim upstream? Will you be the one who has the energy to run out into the middle of the unknown and stand there knowing full well you're in flow and know that you're in the frontier? All I can tell you is that maybe if you take a look at things, what's that nursery rhyme? Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Maybe the frontier is about maybe not fighting anymore. Maybe the frontier is not about having to be at odds with yourself. Maybe the frontier is about you taking care of you. I'm going to speak to the ladies on the call for just a second. Sometimes you've been wired. I think it's part of being an amazing human being with the identity of a woman, is that there's a lot to take care of others. And if you ever take care of yourself, there's a term that came from that. It's called selfish. I'd encourage you to be self-full. self-full. What happens when you start to fill yourself up? What happens when you start to take in things that you want? You start to read the book that you want, start to listen to the music that you want, start to sing praises the way you want. That fullness creates an interesting awareness inside. Rhonda, what are you hearing?
I am right now trying my best to get Moshe in here because he can't get in.
I know I'm having some people do that as well over on this side as well.
So my phone's kind of blowing up at the moment.
Okay, then keep doing that. Keep doing that.
Yeah. Let me get him and I'll refocus.
Okay, cool. So as we're sitting here having these conversations, if anybody wants to ask a question, raise their hand. Be happy to do that. I've had a couple of people send me questions. Yeah, I'm not sure what the challenge is. People not getting in. All we can do is all we can do.
What I found was that I went to personal undevelopment. It said it would send me an email, but I needed yesterday's email to get in.
Okay.
So,
Luis, good morning, Luis. I see your hand up, brother.
Morning, Sean.
Good morning, my friend.
I've had this question on my mind for like the past couple of days, but I haven't been connecting to a call since my Circle of Life calls. They're just like at night, so I get really tired at the end of those calls.
Yep.
And I'm picking up late. But I've been having like, I don't know if you believe in this, but just maybe I'll throw it out there. In numbers, like the meaning behind numbers. So recently, I've been having a lot of weird coincidence, I would say, with numbers. So I trade, right? And I've been consistent for the past 3 months. And I had 3 days that I was losing, just losing and losing and losing. But in those 3 days, I kept seeing like 111, 333. I looked at my phone, it was 555, and then it was 842, and things like that. And a lot of coincidence with the same numbers kept appearing. So randomly, I just received a transaction at 111 for $111. And a lot of things like that keep appearing up. And I don't know, like, if you believe in that, but that has me like, it has my mind and all my attention right now. And I'd like to know what you think about that, Sean.
Well, I don't get paid to think. You've heard me say that before.
Yes.
But here's what I do know. There's a lot of people who say whenever you see the commonality of a number, 222, 555, 777, 666, 444, 533, all of these things, it means that there's a coalescence of energy. And if you Google the spiritual side of those numbers, a lot of times you'll see that they're pretty amazing what they mean. Now, I don't know. They could be those spiritual messages that they say that these numbers mean this in the spiritual realm, and when people think of faith, it could be like a horoscope. But I do say this. I do say this. Oh, that's right. People still need, thank you, Bakumi. I do say this, people, when you pay attention to, when you see the same thing over and over and over, there's something pretty impressive by that, especially when it says, yes, Moshe and all of those, I just needed to approve them to get in. So that's where we needed that. Okay. When you see the consistency of numbers, that means that there's something happening that is at a subconscious level, making you pay attention to something special. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense.
So I would pay attention to why you became aware. that is a particular moment to pay attention to. What was it that caused you to be aware? It doesn't matter. Listen, I learned a long time ago in my town, in my community, back in Florida, when I lived in Florida, I would see somebody, Bob Proctor taught me this 18 years ago. If you see somebody a second time, like in a day, within a day, 24 hours, one of you has a message to tell them. You drive by and you see him go by in the stoplight. Oh my gosh, there goes Bobby. And then you see Bobby walking at the store and you don't go say hello to them. I learned a long time ago to walk up to people. When you remember when we used to be out and be in public and we used to could talk to people? Do you remember that?
Good days, good days.
So when you do all of this, I would walk up to him and I go, hey, Bobby, listen, I know it's been a long time since we've seen each other, but I gotta tell you, one of us has a message for one or the other. Either I got something to tell you or you got something to tell me. Tell me about it. And all of a sudden we would have a conversation that somebody would say, yep.
That was it.
So that's one of the things. So just pay attention to it. See what's around you when that happens. What were you thinking? You might be thinking on a similar path, not necessarily the same idea, but a similar path. You may have been asking for some whispers to say, am I doing the right thing? What do I need to be doing more of? Maybe you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. Just pay attention to that energy.
Thanks, Sean.
Cool. And good morning. And let's go from the island of enchantment to the country of amazingness. Let's go over to the UK.
Good morning, Sean. Oh, good afternoon, Sean.
Good afternoon for you. Good morning for us.
Good morning. I just wanted to ask a question because I've been thinking about this a lot, and we have been speaking about like going on lives for on our Instagram for our business. So for me, I'm not comfortable with going on Instagram, not because I don't want to, but because I teach. Kids are able to find your social media easily. So they've kind of told us not to really keep it open, to kind of make sure that you're not known. Okay. So I don't follow any of the school stuff or anything like that. So I made a new Instagram just for my network marketing, if you will. Sure. But instead of going live, I don't know what else to do. Like, I don't want to show my face just in case one of my kids see my profile, and then I just don't want all the drama from the school. And
why would the school, I can imagine why the school would not want you to do that. Yet this gives you an idea of they really don't want anybody to learn anything other than the school. So listen, you're kind of stuck there. If you can't do it and you would lose your job or create a whole lot of turmoil there. I don't know. Can you do it? Can you do a live from behind a shield? I don't know. All I know is that if you have your voice out.
Yeah. What about having a picture? Alex did this. You can reach out to Alex. He had a picture, and then he had and some music, and he had his voice and just speaking over that. So it was just a voiceover basically with a picture, and he still got his message across. And you could do something like that, like an inspirational saying is on the screen, and then you speak past that.
Yeah, because I've done one where it's just black screen, but I know that isn't always effective.
Here's what I did, Ann. Here's what I did. So I have this whole idea of my personal brand, quote unquote, on Instagram, just Alex J, making dreams possible, right? So I had the name of my first speech, which was to start off kind. That's actually the theme for one of the calls we did 4 weeks ago. Okay. So I made a speech called Start Off Kind, and I have my two colors that I use are basically white and a goldish like color, right? It's like a yellow gold. So I would say like start in like yellow color and then off and then kind, right? And then I would on the bottom of the picture, I would do my slogan, making dreams possible, Alex J, right?
Okay.
And then, for example, because I'm Serbian and here the wolf, the animal wolf, it's like a national symbol, so to speak, of the military and people and all that stuff. And one of my inspirations is Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, etc., etc. So I put in the wolf as well, like a additional thing on the screen. And then I put like I think it was May 18th, something like that.
Okay.
And then I did the voiceover with some like motivational music. I think it was theme from the movie Inception. It's called Time by Hans Zimmer. So I did that because I cannot still like manage to remember the whole speech, and then I would have to edit the video and like cut it into small chunks. But then I think it's not the same message. So here's what I did, and of course, if you find some value and some good piece of advice, I encourage you to use it. So yeah.
So is your Instagram the Serbian Wolf? Because I think I follow you. Is that the one?
Yeah, real Serbian wolf.
Oh, okay, yeah. And what's the video? Sorry, what's the video that you're talking about? This one?
Yeah, that's the one. So it says start off kind. At the top, I have the wolf picture, the making dreams possible, my kind of slogan. At the bottom, I have Alex J, my personal brand, and it's just a voiceover with some music.
Okay. Ooh, that looks really cool.
That's how I did it. So yeah.
Ooh, okay. Thank you. That was really good.
Oh, thank you for asking.
Thank you, Sean.
You bet. And didn't that answer sound so mature?
Yes.
It came from our birthday boy who had his birthday yesterday.
Well, Sean, I'm 19, so I'm a grown ass man.
That's right.
I'm 19.
How was your birthday, Alex?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not kind of big on those things.
Okay.
I'm like I'm not big on partying. I'm not big on like whole celebration things. So it was like yeah, thank you, Daniela. Thank you, Vivian. It was maybe some family over some barbecue, some lunch, something like that. And later last night, well, for me it was last night. I took a couple of my friends to like a coffee shop or something. We just like had a couple of drinks and that was it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not that big on those celebration kind of things. So yeah, I just like mark it up, so to speak. Just like to have something happening. But yeah, thank you all for your beautiful wishes, and you are my gift for this year, y'all.
There you go. Does that help, Ann? Does that help with those questions?
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to try that.
Outstanding.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Love you bunches. Appreciate you. Let's go to Jeremy. Good morning, Jeremy in Ohio.
Good morning, everyone. I mean, talk about this meeting aligning with everything. Wow. Social media, I did 0 social media a year ago. I was just too, nervous, scared, just that was in me. I just didn't like social media. So let's go straight to Sean's first point about community. We can't do anything we want to do in our lives without community. And I have realized this in a very short time. When I decided that I was going to start helping people through nutrition, my first video or me talking was going to be about nutrition. And within a short time, I started to talk to you guys and other people, have meetings, and discovered the community and power of community. And then I realized that life, what you said about what Les Brown said, life is a fight for territory. That's kind of like how we have been raised to think. And the minute that you kind of dig deep into yourself and realize there's something that's causing all these fears and anxieties, and you get real with yourself, and you first talk to yourself, and then you talk to your community, and you build a team, and you talk to them, and then you get the true message out of what's really deep down inside of you, and then you can start your own frontier, and then you'll have that energy to stand there and kind of face it, whatever it is, and it'll just start coming. You don't know what it is, and it doesn't even matter, because whatever it is what you see and what you want to see the world to be. So It really does work. I'll tell you, it's amazing. And then back to Ann, I mean, I would just be true to yourself. I didn't know how I wanted to do my Facebook or Instagram page either. I love to cook my own food. So I started off with just posting pictures of the food that I make. And then, I started with them. I did my first live a couple days ago. And then I did 2 more after that the next day. I actually did one with Brandon from the group here, talk about another alignment. I went outside to just kind of do a nutritional live. The weather was nice and I couldn't get a signal. And I recorded for like almost like 90 seconds, unfamiliar. I'm like, wait a second, no one's even on, there's no signal. So I went back inside a little bit bummed out, checked my Instagram, and Brandon from the group, who we connected a few days ago, messages me about my food. He's like, hey man, how do you do this nutritional thing? So I'm like, Brandon, call me right away. He calls me. We FaceTime actually right away. He FaceTime me. I'm like, let's do a live. We did a nutritional live. Talk about aligning. Then I walked to the mailbox and my mom keeps calling me. She's like, have you got your stimulus check? Have you got your stimulus check? Guess what was in the mail? The stimulus check. Actually, 2 of them. Everything aligns.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there he is.
That's cool, Jeremy. And this is what happens again. When we start to become aware of what we can become aware of, the law of attraction really does work, but the law of attraction requires the most difficult thing we could do, the idea and the ideal of sustained thought. That's why most people, they say there's plaques on boats that are usually in the cockpit somewhere that says there's no atheists at sea. And we become very intent when the storm is around. Can we become very intent when the storm isn't around? That's what Luis is seeing when he's seeing the similar numbers and these patterns show up. There's not a huge storm that's around, but yet it's these little whispers, these little taps on your shoulder saying, just be aware. You're connecting to your own future by being able to pay attention in the moment, right? What does Sadhguru say? You have a choice in this moment, choose joy or choose misery. See, Jeremy on the way to the mailbox, didn't know there were going to be 2 stimulus checks there. Just checkses? 2 checkses in the mailbox. But when he got them, there was this alignment prior to that said, if you pay attention to the now and stay in joy, joy has to reward you. And they're not 1, 2. And then he got a little happier. This is why they say, listen carefully. This has nothing to do with money. Rich people get rich. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Has everything to do with spirit. Because listen, I know some really rich people that are just miserable. And I know some people, right? It says that in the beginning of Wallace D. Wattles' book. I know some people who are poor are the happiest I've ever met. What can you do in this moment? In this moment, you have a choice. Joy or misery. What is it that you choose? It's always your choice. Can you stay awake long enough to realize you're awake? Can you stay present enough to realize that you're present? Steph, I think it's 7-4-14. I think they get read in that way. If anybody knows the what's the name of the burger joint that has like animal fries? It's from California. They have 2 palm trees that have an X. Yeah, In-N-Out. So if it kind of like the off menu, if you've ever been to a restaurant, there's the off menu that you can order things from. Science of Getting Rich has a formula like that as well. And I think it's, the secret menu. It's called, I think it's 7-4-14. You read those chapters. Bob Proctor said he reads those chapters every day in that order. And it's just something that's of service for him.
I'm sorry, Sean, you said chapter 7, chapter 4, and chapter 14?
Yes, I think it's done in those orders.
Awesome. I have this book right next to me right now, so I'm pulling it out.
Cool. And let's see, what else? I'm trying to think of who I'm seeing here. Oh, here's a question for you, ladies. Here's a question for you. How many of you possibly might know somebody who, because they're pretty amazing, because they're pretty special, because they have this uniqueness about them, and doesn't hurt that they're absolutely gorgeous as well, that a lot of times, ladies, have you ever met anybody who's a little bit shy or feels they have to perform at a different level to be around somebody? That they need to be different with people who are closer to them than people who are not closer to them? And that they have this feeling that they kind of fall short of that special person they want to be with. They change the whole way they look at life. Yeah. Who's dealt with that? Who's dealt with that? Do you see all the hands go up? Both men and women. Shaquila, could you talk to that a little bit? What? Well, the big old thumb just gave it away. It's like, yo, pick me, dude. And the reason I say that is there's somebody here. I'm sure there's somebody on here that maybe that affects them dramatically. They're absolutely gorgeous. They can do anything. They probably model. They do all of these things. But when they start to get into a relationship, they change all of the criteria they had for themselves, and they make themselves, I don't want to say the word weak, but they make themselves less than. You ever experience anything like that, my love?
Yes, I experience it myself. Well, not saying that I'm gorgeous or bottom. Hold on.
You are.
So it's
Very
all
gorgeous.
my self-image and believing in myself. So I noticed that.
Something happened to your mic.
Yeah. I tried to get in with the laptop because my phone. Hold on. Let me move.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay if it's the same, but we just had that clearer sound earlier.
Okay.
There you go. That did it.
Okay, so I have that whenever
No,
He has to hop back in.
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Not so much. Okay.
What about now?
I think we can hear you now. Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Is it clear? Am I coming in clear?
I can hear you, but we got no video, and that's okay.
Okay. You don't need to see me. It's good. All right. So, let's see.
That sounds like
so I realized that I would shrink back depending on how I view the person based on how I view myself in the moment.
No, we can't quite hear you. Hang on just a second. It'll come back.
For one second, we could, if that helps you out any.
Yeah.
I don't know if you touched something, but for 1 second, you were just spot on clear.
Maybe you had your hand up like this and your leg out like that and your tongue
It's my signal.
There you go. You were good there.
I'm in the house. It's like certain part of the house.
Well, I'm gonna mute you for just a second. Hang on. And then Vivian, you had your hand up or thumb up. Did you want to share?
Yeah, sure, I'll share.
Hey, good morning, Vivian. Hey, Vivian.
Good morning.
Before you get started, has anybody told you how amazing you are today?
Yeah, myself.
Yeah, baby.
I love you, Vivian. I love you. You're amazing.
Yes, I am finally trying to practice not trying. I am confident. I'm worth it. Okay. But just speaking on the top of my head, like when you were saying how, you know, if we know that person, that person is me. Like, especially before, like I haven't been in a relationship for a really long time, but my last relationship was about 2 years ago. And I find every time I got into a relationship with someone, it was like I put them on a pedestal. Like, and I do that with like, I mainly do that with men, not really like my friends and stuff, but I have this habit of putting people on a pedestal. And like, I don't know if it was like the men I attracted to, because a lot of the guys I attracted always like they kind of like put on this like facade in the beginning and like made themselves out to be like bigger than they actually are. And then when I like noticed like that started to dip, I just started to feel like very uncomfortable, because I was like, I don't know if I trust this person. Like, are they who they say they are? And then I would become very like vulnerable, and especially when I opened up on an emotional level, that's when I started to feel even more uncomfortable. And like, I felt like I didn't have power. Like I couldn't really speak up on certain things. I couldn't like call them out like I used to, like, and in like a loving, joking way or whatever. But like, I just wasn't able to state my opinion, or like, it was just, yeah, it was like a weird feeling. And I know that's one of the main reasons why I haven't been in a relationship for a long time, because I wanted to figure myself out, and I wanted to make sure that I can step into my own power instead of constantly giving my power away to people, and not feeling like I don't have a voice for myself. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was.
So now that you've done that, and now that what was the awakening you had with the guys in your world, that where you would adjust yourself to try to keep them happy? What was the awareness that you had to say, I don't need to really change anymore?
Oh my gosh, my awareness was that I was, hold on, that's like kind of I don't know if it's like a general question, but I'll just try to answer it the best I can. When I noticed, like, wait, sorry, what was that last part? When I realized I had enough?
Well, yeah. So you said that you used to adapt to certain individuals, and maybe it was, you said, I used to do it with guys more than I did with my friends.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what I honestly realized is, because I have like such of like a nurturing character to me, I found that I attracted men that were more like emotionally unavailable, emotionally unstable. And actually all of the men I had were other like mama's boys. Like, it's so funny. Like this is like it was funny to find like the comparison of like all of like my 3 last boyfriends, and like yeah, like they were very, when I started to get like into the relationship like on a serious level, I started to realize I started to like kind of like take care of them and like baby them in a sense, and like, you know, clean for them. And I was like, what is going on with me? Like, I'm acting more of their mother rather than like their partner. And that's when I was like, you know what, like, I'm not really doing help for them if I am just adapting to the situation and catering to them the way that their mother caters to them. Like, of course there's like ways that you can be nurturing, but like you also, I know that it's important for me to like teach my partner to be responsible for his own actions and like not play like the victim. You know what I mean? Because I find like a lot of my ex-boyfriends have played like the victim in senses, or like as soon as like they feel like they're in the wrong, they get like all defensive, and you're like, this is not why we're having this conversation. Like, I want this conversation to like better ourselves and better this relationship and grow together. But yeah, I realized I had enough when I was like, you know what, like, I don't want to feel responsible for someone. I want to feel, or what is it, responsible to them.
To them, yep.
Yeah. So like that was the number one thing. I was like, no, like I'm not like giving out my power to someone else and feeling drained and feeling empty at the end of the day. Like I felt like I gave way too much than I received. And so, yeah, I always ended up being unhappy or feeling taken advantage of.
So now, Vivian, it sounds like you found the secret sauce. You found the secret code to unlock that. And you now do it possibly the way that you did things you no longer do. Would you mind sharing what the new story is? Once you became aware, because you became aware that you started becoming their caretaker versus their partner. What's the new story that you said to keep you from doing that? Because that's a huge change.
Oh my gosh, my new story is actually I stepped into my masculine and feminine energy. Like I stepped into both. So when I was in those relationships, I was more acting on like my feminine energy. And when I started to realize, I was like, you know what? I need to remember my worth, and I need to remember that I'm valuable and I'm worthy of the love that I give out, and like I need to attract people that match me. So I understood in order for me to attract my ideal partner, I have to be that person. And so I really just I literally reclaimed my power, and I started really I learned how to love myself. Like I learned how to be in a relationship with myself. And when I started to respect myself, when I started to value my time, I started to attract people that respected me the same way. And I think that's what's really important too, is like how you treat yourself is how other people treat you. And you cannot expect someone to love you if you do not love yourself. And like, if you don't know yourself, people can only know you at the depthness that you know of yourself, right? So I find that it's really important to understand yourself, learn yourself, love yourself, have a relationship with yourself, find out what you personally like and dislike, and understand your characteristics. So then when people get to know you, they get to know you for the real you. And when you start to create, like when you have respect for yourself, you already know the boundaries that you want to hold. So like if someone is like taking way too much of your time and just like sucking on your energy, like you can just you can recognize that and be like, I've learned how to be like aware of that, where I'm like, okay, is this person trying to like use me, or like are they like, or like how is this relation, like how is this conversation helping in any way, when like I don't know, it's just I can't really think about like excuses right now, but all I can say is like when people approach me, like when guys like try to slide in my DMs, or like, you know, like old people from my past like try to communicate with me, like I can literally pinpoint exactly what they want from me. Like it's so weird. Like I know how to read people, and I know like based on like it's like how they're saying certain things, I'm like, okay, yeah, I know this is not like, this is all surface level, or like you're not really like trying to get to know me or like catch up, like you want something out of me, you know. It's just I can tell. It's amazing, and it like feels good because I'm like, yes, I have my power, like I am a queen, like Empress energy right here. Like I just feel so good about myself.
I call it the red flag system.
Yeah, actually though, nope, red flag, nope.
Vivian, thank you for sharing that. How many of you all got some value from that? How many of you felt, man, that's me? If you thought that was you, type a TM, that's me.
Hey, Sean, real quick about
Yeah,
Vivian.
please.
Vivian, what a change in your whole body language, in your face, in your talk, in your smile, and everything since you and I first talked a week ago or so. What a change. You're this vibrant, amazing, powerful presence. Girl, you got this canopy behind you. You got this long flowy hair. You got your robe on. Your smile is kicking. You took us to church on exactly how to stand in full love for yourself. I am so proud of you, because I can tell you took everything that you've learned throughout the last week, and you didn't just absorb it, you applied it. And knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge turns into power. And you're breaking the addiction to approval. And it shows on your face, in your eyes, in your smile. And you're sitting up and I'm like, dang, she's beautiful. And I don't just mean physically, because you got the physical, but the spiritual is aligning. And you can tell, and it's like this a massive amount of fire and energy.
Oh my
and
God,
I just, as a woman, I want to acknowledge that in another woman and tell you, girl, I love you. I love you. You're
I love
amazing.
you so
Congratulations on stepping into that.
Honestly, when I'm like,
Yeah.
I love what you're saying. And when I'm sitting, like, I just imagine like this white light, like piercing out of my like head, like into like my higher consciousness. Can I share something though that really helped me from a week ago? What is the center of like my drive of like my confidence and just stepping back into my power is one of the things I put into my journal was a baby picture of me. And I wrote, I will always show up for you. And this is my inner child.
Oh.
I find that when you accept your inner child, when you build a relationship with your inner child, your teenage child, any type of memory you have from your past of yourself in like in a type of misery, when you can reflect back and it gives you tears thinking about, you know, your 13-year-old self, your 5-year-old self, just I really like sit there and envision like this picture, whenever I thought about this little girl, I used to break down into tears. Like I would fall on my knees and break down. Like I would be so upset. And then I went through this meditation. It was actually a guided meditation to heal my inner child. And I remembered seeing her. I could like remember the room, everything. And I looked at her crying and I just went up to her and I was like, I love you so much. And like, everything's going to be okay. And I literally just like held her in my arms and I was like holding like this little baby. And I was just like, you are always safe when you're in my arms. Like I will always take care of you. Like you have nothing to worry about anymore. And it was like it was just like the sweetest moment. Ever since that, like I just found like this newfound power where I was like, I'm so happy. Like I'm just so pleased right now. And like anytime I go through something, like I just remember that I'm not alone. Like I have every version of me, a part of me, and all the journey, all the lessons, and I just feel so like gifted. Like I just feel so happy. And like I remember all those faces from the back, like my emo 13-year-old self, and she's just smiling back at me and like, I'm so proud of where you are right now. Like it's just it feels so nice. Like I don't know.
You're remarkable. You're amazing. I mean, look at what all you've done. The Vivian I first spoke to is one of those that you just took care of. And this is the real Vivian. This is the true, authentic Vivian. And I got to tell you this too. The other reason I keep saying your name is when I was pregnant with my daughter I was never supposed to have, the name that my husband and I set on the beach, we were trying to figure out baby names, and the name we chose was Vivian. Now we didn't name her that, but that was the first name we chose, even though we didn't go with it. So every time I see that name, I'm like, oh, it's my baby.
I'm your spirit daughter.
That's exactly right. I'm so proud of you. You're amazing, girl.
I love that. We are meant to connect. This is the meaning.
Yes.
We are meant to.
Yes.
Thank you for your words, Rhonda. You literally spoke into my soul. I feel full right now. More than full. I'm pouring over.
I love it. That's good. Pour it on everybody you come in contact with. Just let those blessings pour, girl. Woo! Yay! Love you.
How cool is that?
So cool.
Miss Sharon, you got your hand up.
I have to confess, I don't have anything earth-shattering to say here at the moment, but I just am feeling so much love for this group, for these misfits, and for you and Rhonda. And yesterday I had a very strange day, but I expect some of us all did. And I was practicing being kinder to myself through it, because I have this tendency, it's like, if I'm not working, I think I'm overindulging. And I think I go through this thing of overindulgence or slave driver. And like those are my only two options. So yesterday I was, I wasn't doing a lot. And even the playful things, like I wanted to write, I wanted to read, I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting there for a lot of the day. And you know what? I decided it was exactly what I needed. I went to bed early, got 8 hours sleep. When I get 8 hours sleep, I'm always way better off. And and I just wanted to love on you guys today and tell you that we if we're paying attention, we're in the space of awareness, and that's all we can do is be aware now, this moment, and to love on people. And it was fun sending out all my little love notes today. A little slow. Anyway, that's really what I had to say, was to just come present. And when you were talking about relationship stuff like that, it was like, oh my gosh, I had so little self-esteem when I was in relationships that it didn't even occur to me that I could have what I wanted in those days. So I think it would be very interesting today to get into a relationship.
And that could still happen.
I'd have to make the space for it in my life, you know. And one of my neighbors came by last night and brought me a little gift, and just to say, I've been thinking about you. And he just knocked on the door, handed me a gift, and walked away. So anyway, it reminds me of my past. I keep them at arm's length.
Outstanding.
Anyway.
Well, thank you, Sharon.
That's my morning. Good morning. I love you.
Good morning. I love you too. Let's go to Gina Francosis. No, I'm sure I'm saying that last wrong. Good morning, Gina. Is that Gigi?
Gigi.
Oh my goodness.
Francois.
It's Francois. Exactly.
Francois. Good morning, Gigi.
Good morning. How are you doing, John?
Outstanding, my love.
Okay, so this kind of goes to like the question that you were talking about being in relationships and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized it's when I became like more self-aware of me and realizing how I acted in those relationships, because I was kind of like, maybe like codependent. Like I based how I felt about myself like on how they felt about me. So it's like an attachment that I had that I knew was not good. But maybe like at the time I didn't know it was good because I was kind of naive to the whole situation of being in relationships, because I feel like people don't talk about how to actually be in an effective relationship. Like it's not a thing that's spoken about generally, which really should be, because you realize you learn you can lose yourself in a relationship, which I did because I tend to give a lot and it would be like more one-sided and things. So it wasn't until I took the time to just be by myself for completely by myself for probably like the past year, and just spend time in isolation with myself and self-reflect on, okay, how did this relationship happening? Okay, why did I keep repeating the same cycles when it comes to men? What is the common factor? And the common factor is me. So then you realize, okay, then I got to work on me.
And you did that recently, haven't you?
I have been. I mean, it's been a process. It's been a journey. It's been probably since like August of last year. I started this whole journey of self and self-discovery.
Yep.
And now we're here.
Cool. So what's the story you tell yourself to keep going on the journey?
That I am worthy and I am enough. That I'm perfect just the way.
And you know, I love you. Here's the tough question. You've said that before, but now you believe it. What was the difference?
I became more aware of the things I would say to myself.
Because when you'd say the good things, then you'd say 101 not so good things. They kind of cancel that out. Awesome. Very cool. I've had somebody who's been messaging me in the chat. Is it Shireen?
Yes, you got
Hey,
it
Shireen,
right.
good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Outstanding.
I'm finally here. I'm on the video to everybody. I'd been talking to Sean since yesterday, and I was just like back and forth and like coming in front of people and kind of sharing my story because I was not comfortable. But I was like, you know, let's just do it. The more I push it backward, the more I'm just gonna like, I don't know. So here I am.
So your question.
My question is, so my problem is not too much when I am in the relationship. My problem is when I meet somebody new, the first thing that I realize is that I have this fear of like, of them not liking me once they get to know me better. And I'm not sure why. Because I'm such a people's person. My friends love me. I have a great circle. My family loves me. I'm a very confident person. I'm extrovert. I'm funny. Like, I know all these things about myself, and like I'm very self-aware. I have a lot of self-love that I've built for myself over the years through a lot of lessons and experiences. But then when it comes to just meeting somebody new, I don't know what happens in my brain that I'm just either it's the fact that I put them on a pedestal like Vivian said, or it's just I think that there's something in me that they're not gonna like, or there's something in me that they're probably gonna get. Like, it's just like I'm so scared for them to get to know me. But I know that me, actually, my authentic self is amazing. But it's not the case when it comes to meeting a new guy.
So what might be some feedback some ladies have, because I am not, this is not the guy that's had a lot of conversations like that. So I'd love to hear some feedback from some of the ladies who could give. Is it Shireen?
Yeah, you're right, sure.
Okay.
I do have to say, Sean, I struggled for so many years with feeling like when they get to know me better, I still struggle. I still wake up and say, Sean and Rhonda's still going to love me today. You know? It's because it's like when you get to know me, then you'll see how, you know, how insecure and imperfect I really am. And, you know, I know how to look good on the surface, and what's real, what, you know, what's the real me is totally, you know, and it's just the mind chatter. It's like, I call it my monkeys in my brain. But what you're talking about is so, I think we all grow up in this comparison state, and I'm sitting here looking at how incredibly beautiful you are. But for me, I mean, it's like I weighed 115 and had a perfect figure and thought I was fat. Well, if I lose 10 pounds, then they'll love me, you know, huh? And all these things that we do, I think it's partly social conditioning as girls, as children, that we don't value who we are enough, and we're not taught to. We're, you know, I don't know about your generation, but in my generation, it was considered conceited if you said anything nice about yourself. And so then when you get out in the real world, it's very hard to bridge that. And I see people who are far less, quote, adequate than me, who were able to get into relationships with people that matched them. And the truth is, we just need to, it's a practice. It's a practice to notice that chatter and talk back to it and stand up to it and say, no, I'm not going to buy into that today. And it's, I mean, it breaks my heart when I think about how I treated myself when I was young, you know, and I still struggle with it. You know, I'm sure Rhonda has some feedback here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you,
Shireen, are you still there? Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. So I have a question. What part of you are you scared for someone to see? What part of you do you feel like won't be approved whenever they see it?
Probably or like, because okay, another thing is like a lot of people when they look at my photos and stuff, they think I'm like hot, but when they get to know me, I'm like this. I've always kept the child in me alive, so I'm like really funny. I'm like very, like I'm just a very fun-loving person, and I'm very childlike, not childish, but very childlike. And most of the guys that I attract are much older than I am. A lot of them did end up liking me, and like they like that I'm childlike, and then I've kept the child alive, and then I'm funny, and like, but then, and that's the real me. Like I am a very, like, I wish I had another word, but I'm very funny. Like I like to make
So
people
let me
laugh.
ask it to you this way. So let's reverse engineer it. Why do you present yourself that way instead of childlike?
I think I don't intentionally do that, but a lot of people have told me that until they actually got to know me, they had a completely different perception of me. Like they thought that I was this very held back, very, it's
So,
not who I really am, but I don't
okay,
intentionally do that.
let me ask you this. What are you wanting? What kind of people are you wanting around you? Are you wanting people that enjoy your childlikeness and that are fun and you can have a lot of fun like that with? Or are you wanting people that are more serious and not as childlike? Which one are you trying to, which one would be more comfortable to be around all the time?
So for me, from my end, I'm okay with anybody, any nature, any sort of nature. Mostly I have attracted in my past guys who have been extremely serious, but when they get to be with me, I help them get in touch with their childlike nature. And it's crazy how many times they've told me that they were not aware of this side to themselves that I kind of brought out. So because I am who I am, they were able to go from being serious to being fun-loving.
Okay, so did any of those work out like you wanted it to? Okay, so could we possibly say, if we agree that your vibe attracts your tribe, do you agree with that? Okay, yeah. So the way I say that sometimes is like spirit draws like spirit. Absolutely. So you went in to this relationship with these different people as kind of a somber, not as childlike, and you attracted their serious side. And then you became your fun-loving, childlike self, and they became a fun-loving, childlike guy or person, whoever they were. Do you think we could say that potentially neither one knew exactly what the other one fully was or wanted to be inside themselves, and we morph according to the situation? Yeah. So, okay, so let me see if we can walk through this, and Sean, you might have to help me. What I'm hearing from you is I see you present yourself one way and then you move into another and you get the same kind of people, and then a lot of times you sit back and go, they weren't who I thought they were. Yeah. But then again, on the same token, and before I say this next statement, since I've never talked to you, I'm gonna ask you like Sean does. Do I have your permission to help you? Yeah. Okay. Yes. And the second question is challenging, but if you answer it right, it'll be right on spot. Do I have permission to make you uncomfortable? Yes. Okay, because what I'm about to say after the next question is probably going to make you a little uncomfortable. Third question, do I have your permission to take you out of discomfort and back into a comfortable spot? Yes. Okay, so you said we agreed that every time you went into a relationship, you kind of sat back going, God, they aren't who I thought they were. is it possible that they said the same thing about you?
Yes, but in a good way. Like,
Okay, so if it was in a good way, would they still be here?
true. That's my fear. Just because they're not here, I'm like, oh my God, did they just leave because I'm who I am? I'm not.
Okay, so and now we're gonna get out of the oh crap phase. Is it possible that as you present you, the authentic child life, beautiful, fun-loving, goofy, prankster, have some fun, because I kind of see you as this person that you're stunningly beautiful, but you will tie somebody's shoelaces together and watch them trip and fall just for a little bit of fun, even though you'll help them back up kind of person.
I do something worse, honestly.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it possible that as we help Shireen stay present in Shireen and not who she thinks everybody wants her to be, that will attract the kind of person that will be consistent in who they are throughout the whole relationship with her? Do you think that's possible?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Okay, so do you think as we help, if we can help Shireen to stay her childlike, authentic self, that whoever she comes into a relationship with, she will attract the people who will remain who they are and not have to change to become someone else?
Yes.
It's a lot to think about. Okay. So then where we have to go with this is to the mirror. And we have to ask ourselves some tough questions, which is, what type of approval am I addicted to that makes me not be able to either get on social media or get in a group of friends and just be me?
Can I tell you something?
Please.
Okay, so like I said, I always attract guys that are much older than me. I prefer it that way because I would never want to get into a relationship with somebody my age. So literally all the guys that I've dated before have been like 10 years older than me or like 8 years older than me. So I feel like I have this responsibility to always go beyond my age to match their level. And I feel in that process, I kind of forget where I am in my life. And I'm always looking to just match their level. And even when I'm not in a relationship, just because I intend to attract guys who are much older than me, I feel like I have to put on this facade to be much more mature. I'm mature, but like, I don't understand, like, and now I'm confused.
I understand you. Let me help you here, because I'm married to a guy who's 8 years older than me, and I seem to have always dated guys older than me when I was dating. And the one guy that I married that was my age was a catastrophe. That was other reasons why, but it was pretty catastrophic. So I get that, and I understand that. I'm going to take the age factor completely out of it. And I'm going to tell you, as a woman who's walked where you haven't yet, just because of my age, that as we settle in on who Shireen is, and we give her the confidence to step out of addiction to approval, and you become who you are meant to be and stand in your goofiness with all your beauty slathered all over you, and this is striking appearance, but yet this childlike quality and the fun and the giggles and the laughs, you will attract the same back to you no matter the age. And more likely than not, you're going to end up with the age of a person that you're really going to enjoy. So I think saying I'm attracted to this kind of age and this is what I am, I think all those, this is another uncomfortable moment, I feel all those are more masked for you to wear to remain behind the facade of addiction to approval. And I've got to stay over here because I like this kind of person, this kind of person, this kind of person. When you step into your authentic self, your identity, and you begin to look in the mirror and you look square in your own eyes, and you have a good, tough conversation with yourself, which is, why do I have to change, or why do I have to diminish when I go around people? What is it that makes me have to do that? And do I have the necessary people around me to walk me through that as I go? So that's that was a real wordy answer. And I realize that.
I get it.
It comes back down to, and this is where Sean is really good at identifying this, it comes back down to your addiction to approval. I see you and I see past that. But it's also because of the lens I'm looking through is not as clouded with addiction to approval as it used to be. Most of the people in the world that you're coming in contact with, most of these guys you're talking about, and you're saying, why don't people, why do I feel this way? It's because everyone speaks from a lens of addiction to approval of some sort. I'm sorry?
May I say something?
Sure.
What I want to mention is that the relationship that we have in our marriages, in our dating or courtship, is the type of love that we received from our mother or father. And if that relationship was a relationship of addiction to approval rather than unconditional love, of course, that's the only love that we know. And without knowing, we apply that love. And I can identify with Shireen.
Yeah.
Thank you, honey.
Thanks, Delia.
I can identify with you 100%. Here you have a lady that is 66 years old, who went through a 25-year marriage, who dated people in her age group and younger, and nobody was good enough because I couldn't open up myself and be Delia. I was conditioned as a Cuban American girl to behave a certain way, what was proper and improper. And back in the days, it was totally different from today, but it's like I had to be this serious, intelligent, well-mannered lady on the dates, so serious that I wouldn't open up myself and have fun. So when people got to know me for who I was, and I became spontaneous through the courtship because I got comfortable, the person that I attracted, I was no longer attracted because they were too serious. And I would become bored with their relationships to the point that the relationships would end. So I went through a long marriage. I married someone very intense as me, if not more. Wonderful man, but very intense. But during the courtship, it was all fun. And after 10 years of marriage, we drifted apart. And we went to counseling, and we did church meetings. We did a lot of things to keep the marriage because we had 2 children. At the end, he drifted. He found a person that was more of his mindset, and I had to grow as a person. So 16 years later, I remarry, and I'm happy with who I am. Now I'm not that 24-year-old that is a size 6, 115 pounds with beautiful hair, beautiful smile, beautiful complexion, bilingual, with a career, always laughing and happy, okay? I'm like old, and I'm taking care of my grandkids, and the least that I think is marriage, but I'm very comfortable with myself. And this second marriage, skipping to my second marriage hasn't been easy because I keep growing. And as I grow, instead of the marriage going into divorce, separation, and thrifting, it's like I'm pulling the other person to grow, and he's pulling me to grow, and it's like a dance. Because I am being who I am, and I say I love you, but this is who I am. I have to be who I am. And if you don't love me, you know what? I love myself. And what I want to leave you with is, today when I was meditating with Joe Dispenza, there's a section there where he talks, not Joe specifically, but another author, talks about self-love. And in that meditation, it's like you count the blessings for everything that you are grateful for the person that you are, because we are spiritual, we are mindset, mental, and we're body. So in the meditation, they were saying, hug yourself, count your blessings, and look at all the stuff around you in your body and in your mind and in your accomplishments that you should giving thanks. And give yourself that love that as a child, Delia, my name is Delia, you didn't receive, because it's like you got the attention when you made a mistake, and it was expected of you to perform at 100% level all the time. My mom was very intense, okay? Loving lady. She's over here at 80. She looks like she's 40. I'm not kidding you. She also grew up very controlled. So, you know, parents repeat to a certain degree what they were exposed to, and we do the same if we don't correct it. So what I'm trying to tell you is, don't worry about the mechanism step by step. Just be in love with yourself. Look at all your attributes and say, I am enough to attract the man that will accept me with all my blessings, all my gifts, and all my shortcomings.
Thank you so much, Jenna.
And it's like, you know what? I went through a second divorce with my second marriage 2 years ago. But it was meant for me to be with this person. And a couple of weeks ago, crisis, because the person is ill and it has problems that he's dealing with and he's growing. And what I do there is, because I'm already married and this compromise is with God and me, the institution of marriage is with God, not the person. I cannot expect perfection from my partner. I can only love him unconditionally, and God will do the rest. And what has happened is I took away the restraints from putting the person in a pedestal, which I did with my first husband. And when he failed, everything crumbled down, because I wasn't ready to accept the person with the faults. I wanted a perfect human being, which doesn't exist. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Delia.
Thank you for letting me speak, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Delia, you're awesome. Hey, Shireen.
Delia, you were awesome. Shireen, I'm gonna let Sean talk to your brain for a little bit.
She's gonna get charged. Yay.
I wanted to die. This is very intense conversation.
How are you feeling so far?
I am feeling, I think I kind of figured out the problem. I feel like it was not like in general something wrong with me. I think it was just the fact that I'd always wanted to be with somebody older. So I always like put this, I was too hard on myself in terms of putting on this facade of like just matching up to their age. And then when I realized, like when I get into the relationship a little deeper, I realized like they would start loving me then. And then I was able to be myself, which is the fun-loving person, the childlike person. And so my problem is like when I meet somebody new, I'm always very scared, like since the person is so old, what if he's not going to be childlike like me because he's so old or so mature. I remember I went on a date 2 weeks back and he was really, really old. And when I did not get the validation back from him, I was so hard on myself. For a week, I was just in my cocoon. I did not speak to anybody. I was like, I'm putting on so much work into growing consciously. And when I don't seek that validation from somebody older than me, who can be like, yes, Shireen, you're actually much mature than your age, and you're funny and you're childlike, but you're also mature, that I can sit with you and talk to you. I feel like when I don't get that from somebody older than me, I feel like I've failed myself.
Hey,
So here,
Sean, before you go on, one quick tip, and this is just, I'm sorry, just because of my dating past, age in anyone, male or female, does not mean maturity. Age does not mean emotional maturity, spiritual maturity. It doesn't mean that. And I need you to hear that disconnect there, because I've dated older guys that they weren't mature just because of their age, and they didn't have it together just because of their age. Age doesn't mean that every somebody's got themselves together. So I just had to say that. Go ahead, Sean.
Shireen, when you say these about being able to get all of this from somebody else, the question I might have for you is, can you be the age that you are, mature than you are, more fun than people see you, and are you okay with that? I think you're coming closer to realizing that. But here's the question. So remember the 3 questions Rhonda asked you? Let's just say I asked you the same question, so we'll skip those.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you a question. Can you remember the first time? Can you remember back to a time to where you felt your childlike nature was not accepted? Can you remember the moment where you being goofy?
Okay. So when I was in 9th grade, I was bullied a lot because I was the joker of the class.
Mm-hmm. We're here. We got you. Y'all drop some hearts for Shireen.
I think
Now, as you sit there, you don't have to say another word. Don't have to say another word. Just sit there for a second. Let me speak into you. This is the story. And you're more than welcome to stop, because you chatted with me. You didn't want to be crying on the call. I get that. I totally get that.
fine.
Okay. But this is where we now get to the story. So you don't have to tell me about it, but you remember the moment, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so freeze frame that moment for me. The thing that just started you crying, that whole emotional state that started you crying. Can you remember it? Can you remember okay, so was it day or night?
It was an entire year.
Okay, so this entire year, can you remember one of the moments that stands out more than the other, that either got you so, seeing red mad, or absolutely depressed you didn't want to go back to school the next day? Can you remember one particular moment?
Yeah.
Okay, you got it. Where it was at school, or was it after school?
Yeah, it was at school.
It was at school. Okay. Do you remember whether was it an audience? Was this thing done to you in a public forum, or was it done private one-on-one, like with the teacher or something, or by somebody?
I think a group of people.
Okay, so you were in a group of people. Do you remember how you felt as it was going. You knew something was about to happen, and then in the middle of it happening, you couldn't you absolutely couldn't believe it was happening. Does that make sense?
No, but I just remember from that day, I kind of told myself that I'm not going to be funny anymore. Like, I'm going to have to put on this facade of like being the serious person.
Okay. So prior to you coming to that realization, can you remember what the moment before you came to that realization? When you were still funny, when you were still okay with being funny, can you remember prior to saying, I'm not going to be funny anymore?
Like the moment that I felt rejected?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to freeze that moment in time.
Okay.
Now, Shireen, do your friends call you a nickname? Did you have a nickname back then?
Yes, it's Cherry.
Okay, so because I heard something different. Okay, because I heard she was different then than she is now. So Cherry was the name back then?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want Shireen, follow me on this. Follow me on this. I want Shireen to go back to the moment before Cherry said, I'm not going to be funny anymore. And I'm not going to, the way I'm going to avoid rejection is to not be funny. I want you to go back to Cherry, and I want you to see her when she still believes that funny is good and funny is fun and all of that stuff. And you're taking me on this trip, and you and I are now standing at this moment in time. Can you see her?
Yeah.
Do you remember, can you think of anything particular that she might have been wearing, or did she have a backpack? Did Cherry was her hair in a certain way back then?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got her picture. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to whisper to you. We're standing there in this moment. You're going to walk over to Cherry, and you're going to like kind of tap her on the shoulder, and she's going to see you. She's going to freak out a little bit because she's going to see this beautiful you, and she's going to be like, damn girl. Right? And you're going to tell her, and she's going to go, what are you doing here? And you're going to tell her, listen, some stuff's about to go down, and it's going to affect you, but I want you to know it's made me the strong woman that I sit here before you today with. And you're going to give her a little hug, whatever you would do with your girlfriends back then, a hug or a kiss on the cheek or whatever it is. And you're going to say, I'll see you in a little while. So go over there and do that to her. Go over there and walk over to Cherry and say something to her. And say those things to her. And what does Cherry say back to you?
I think she's thanking me.
Okay. She's thanking you. And she's thanking you in a way you've never been thanked before. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
And you're wondering, how is this soul who has been through hell and back, why is she thanking me? Because she knows how amazing you are. She knows what you went through to get her to that point. She knows what you went through to get Cherry to that point. And she looks at you, and she looks at you the way we look at you. And she sees this amazing, strong-willed woman who doesn't let anybody talk her out of her own joy. And she sees that standing in front of her. So now you guys hug, you give each other a little kiss, and away you go, and you come back over to me. And we're still back at that moment. And I want you to tell me how you feel. We're still back at that moment. I want you to tell me how you feel that you gave Cherry this confidence. You gave her the strength to stand in this moment that's about to happen. And it'll change everything because you came back and you gave her this message. You gave her this hug. Tell me how you stand here now in this moment. What's changed inside of you that you've kind of rewritten time?
I think I let my authentic self over what people told me I should be.
Okay. And so now you and I are back here sitting in this moment. What feels different in your body?
I don't know, I feel lighter.
Yeah. Is lighter good?
Like a big, something's just lifted off my shoulder, has been
Right.
lifted off my shoulder.
Now, I'm going to ask you an oddball question. Follow me on this, my love. Is that okay if that lifted off your shoulders? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that that's lifted off, so something is gone, a mask, as Rhonda may have used the word earlier, is gone. What do we get to see now?
That funny girl, that childlike girl.
Y'all watching her face? Y'all seeing her face change?
Just me, authentically me. Me.
Now, give me do a body scan for me. You feel lighter, but there's an energy inside of you somewhere. I'm feeling an energy inside of you somewhere. Where is it? Is it in your gut? Is it in your lower back? Is it in your knees? There's something vibrating in you. Where is it?
I think here.
Okay. Yep. So that's where the lightness came from. You were carrying this around. You know, you ever sit on your leg too long, and you get up off of your leg, and all of a sudden you got pins and needles, and it's like waking up. It's not quite pins and needles, but you're waking up to you. Can you tell me how tall you are?
5'5.5".
5'5.5".
Yeah.
That's the fun thing I love about Dynamite packages. They always got to get that half inch in. I'm not 5'5". I'm 5'5.5", by God. So here's the other thing that came to me. Because you're this, I'm 6'3". So to me, you're this little peanut of joy, of gratitude. And sometimes your size, you attempt to be bigger than who you are. You're already the size of the world.
Thank you.
You're already the size of the universe. And now you just expanded back to take your shape of who you are and be able to stand a little bit taller. I bet you're probably now 5'6".
5'6.5".
And a half. Oh yes, 5'6.5". See, there's that funny girl. Welcome home. It's good to have you back.
Thank you so much, Ron. I appreciate it.
Shireen, are you familiar with knock knock jokes?
Sorry?
Are you familiar with knock knock jokes?
Yeah.
Okay, so knock knock.
Who's there?
Amma.
Who?
I'm about to love you, girl, even more than you've ever been loved before. I love you.
Thank you. Thank you. I literally feel like I'm born again.
Yeah.
So
I really appreciate everybody. Thank you so much.
now I will say this to you, my love. Our chat last night, had you not had the courage, what did I tell you? Listen, whenever you're ready. There was no, hey, no, you need to blah, blah, blah. Whenever you're ready. And guess what happened? Guess what part of you got ready? This one. I applaud you. I'm in so much awe of you. I absolutely adore you. You're amazing. And I will let you in on this. So there's a whole bunch of hearts and flowers being dropped in the
I
chat.
appreciate all of you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
I'm going to ask this question, and Shireen, I want you to watch the chat. If Shireen's vulnerability awakened you, gave you this joy that you hadn't seen before, let her know in the chat. Yes, type yes. So Shireen, I want you to see you going through what you went through, being afraid to tear, being afraid to do this. Look at the women you freed up today as well. I need you to hear that, because this is a part of you like, I don't deserve, I need everybody to laugh at me. But you know what? They're not laughing at you. They fell in love with you because of who you are. Are you okay with that?
You're amazing, Shireen. I love you.
Thank you. I love you too. Thank you so much. Thank you. This means a
Enjoy
lot.
this moment. Listen, I journal this moment. I would enjoy it. I'd get up and run around, dance, do whatever it is, because you did this. This is a place you stepped into. There you go. Go get a whipped cream pie and throw it in my face.
One day.
Okay. So here's the good news. You just did that. Rhonda didn't do it. I didn't do it. Delia didn't do it. Sharon didn't do it. We were all a part of it. We couldn't lift the weights for you. You did it, and you lifted that weight off of you.
I did it. Yeah.
You did it. And I want to say this to your subconscious mind. Thanks, Cherry. Thanks for showing up.
She's more thankful to you.
Well, and I'm okay with that, and I accept that, because now I've got two friends.
And they both love you.
I appreciate that. It's pretty cool what we do here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and that's because it's because of the folks.
Yeah.
This is what community is. This is what mastermind is. This is why I call this personal undevelopment.
Yes.
Not personal development. You don't need one more piece of BS personal development. Oh, and by the way, BS stands for belief system. Personal development in my mind is when I read this book, ILT, when I read this book and tell you what I think of this book, or I read my devotional and I say, it says in the book, that's personal development. That's me trying to develop me, trying to hope that my development is good enough for you. It's about personal undevelopment. We've been wired so crazy, so strong, possibly so wrong, that the right doesn't even know which way to go. And now when we go back to this moment, see that little moment, as soon as you said it, 9th grade, Cherry, your body went, no, we ain't going there. I'm gonna cry, and that'll stop Sean from going. Those gates ain't big enough, my love. And you did it. You did it. You're good. You're good. You're literally, your face is relaxed. Your smile is more beautiful. Your neck is longer. I kid you not. You sit before us unmorphed, let me put it that way, back to who you've been. That's cool. You're awesome.
Cool. Thank you. You're awesome.
This is what we get to do. This is what we get to do. Na 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 na. Blah blah blah. How you feeling? You still feeling it? You still feeling good?
I'm feeling great.
Awesome. Yeah, that's such an amazing, authentic smile. Ugh.
I can't stop smiling.
I know. Welcome to my world. He's that goofball from Texas. Good to have you here, Shireen. Thank you for that. It's the best. Hey, Anne's got her hand up. I don't know if that was from earlier or I missed it or it's up again. Anne,
Hi, John.
hello.
So whilst we're on the topic of relationships and I don't know, I guess healing. So I think I mentioned this for like a second the other day. So I wasn't a big dater when I was in school. I actively avoided it. I don't know why. I was just, well, I know why. It was because my parents valued education much more. And because they told me, like, we're, immigrants and we need to work hard to achieve things. I very much concentrated on that. So a lot of my friends were dating at the age of 11. And I used to be like the advice girl. They would always get advice from me, but I would never be in a relationship. And then I went to uni, and a lot of my friends, again, were like, not coercing me, but sort of persuading me to get into a relationship, or they see guys that are interested in me and persuade me. And I was very much just not against it, but I was like, no, I'm not interested, but I didn't know why. Why, again, I think it comes back to my parents, the fact that I wanted to, I got into a really good university, and I just wanted to prove to them that I could do the whole 3 years and do it properly and not mess about. And then when I came out of uni, one of my really good friends was like, I think you need to get into a relationship because you need to learn. So, and I also felt very alien at this point, because everyone my age had already been in a relationship. So I got into a relationship. It was about 2 years ago. And I was very I don't know why I'm crying. I was told that I'm not by him. Well, yeah, by him, but also other people, that I was always too much. Because I always asked for what I wanted. So when I did get into this relationship, again, he kind of confirmed that I was too much. So I started walking on eggshells around him. This is gonna get really ugly. Yeah, so I started walking on eggshells around him, and I decided to be not as strong, which is not me, in terms of my opinions. He had a very full-on job, and I didn't want to be, again, too much. So whatever he gave me, I accepted. And I knew I didn't want that, but I accepted because I didn't want to, again, be too much. And then he, eventually we weren't in love, but like eventually we got to a point where he wanted to be sexually active with me. And I said no because I wasn't ready. But then again, I felt alien. So after a couple of months, I kind of forced myself to be ready. And it wasn't great at all.
You're okay, Anne. And you're safe. You're in a safe place with safe people. You're okay. You're not alone.
Thank you, Rhoda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, the same. issue occurred where I felt it was too much. So I didn't tell him like that I went and got the pill and stuff. And then my friends were like, you need to tell him. So I told him and he kind of laughed it off. And then that's when like my connection to him was like disconnect. Like I just disconnected myself. And then after that, I think a couple of weeks after that, we went on a date. And again, he, in a way, kind of told me that it was too much for him to handle. So I said, you know, he could go home and I wanted to do my own thing. And he was like, no, like he will stay behind with me because we were shopping. And then a day after that, a week after that, he called me and he said, you know, what do you want to do for this weekend? And then I said, you know, I don't know, maybe let's just go out. And then he was sick and he basically invited me over, but only so that I could look after him. So then I realized that I was kind of being used. So I just sort of picked up the phone and I just ended it. I didn't really see him. I didn't think I needed to. And then ever since then, after that, like he would like my social media posts or he would text me and I would have so much anxiety. And I don't know why, because I cut off from him. But the only way I could get through it was my school kids. They would make me laugh and you know, they'd make me feel good. So that's the only way that I would kind of get through it. And then recently, just before we kind of had a lockdown, another male member of staff that I'm kind of close to, I see him as an older brother, said to me that I can tell that you're very defensive against like men and males in general. And I just, you know, one of the reasons I was very unhappy in that relationship is because I wasn't myself. I wasn't who I was when I'm with my friends or with my parents. And I don't know why that is, but that is with most men. I'm not myself. I don't know if it's to do with if I'm scared for their approval or if I'm just they're defensive, so that if they say anything, I've got to say something back to defend myself. But every time around men, I'm so uncomfortable. And even if, so, like my friends or anyone say, let's, you know, do you want to go on a date or whatever, I'm completely against, like not against it, but I'm like, no, I have like no interest in it. But I know that I, you know, one day do want to find someone. So I guess I wanted to ask, not what is wrong with me, but how do I get that kind of easiness to be around?
So Anne,
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Is it okay if we have a little conversation?
Yeah.
Okay. And you were wildly vulnerable on the very first call you joined us on.
Yeah.
You had no idea. You were shocked that it was even coming out of your mouth, the conversation we had.
Yeah.
So this one's been a long time coming.
Okay.
And first of all, congratulations. I'm curious which part of you let this out, because it's an awesome conversation. And by the way, I'm a guy and you're amazing, but you ain't too much. You are just perfect the way you are. I love our conversations. I love the phrases. I love the rebuttals I hear in your brain when you and I talk. You know what I'm talking about, right? You're intrigued at the way that I challenge some thought processes for you, and there's a part of you that goes, ugh, that's right. He's not right. I knew that before, but he's right. You get me. We good? Okay. I love you. So here's a question for you. Well, before I start, I'm hearing Rhonda Bird Parker. Anything?
What?
Am I hearing something from you to share at this moment?
Kinda. I'm kind of sitting here listening as to how this is going, because I watched the chat. I'm listening to Ann, and this is a reoccurring theme for everybody, is not feeling enough or feeling too much. And it's like we can never be comfortable. And you're like, where's this comfort? Where's that place of comfort? Everybody else looks like they're comfortable. Why ain't I comfortable like everybody else? Why can't I walk through the crowd like every other woman can? Why can't I walk in and date some guy and be like, yeah, I got this. Okay, now I'm done. You know, why can't I be like that? And everybody is asking the exact same questions. It's just some people don't show it on their face as well as others. I'm completely transparent. You look at my face. Gigi watches my face on these phone calls, and there's moments when some people are talking and Gigi will text me, girl, you need to fix your face. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry, because I show it. I show it. And you probably feel that you're that kind of way too. You just show it. And you're like, so then you just don't go around, because you're like, they'll see it, you know, and now I'm, you know, they'll know. The other thing is, yesterday we mentioned a phrase, I think it was yesterday or day before, I can't remember, of soul ties. Maybe it was the day before yesterday. And you created a soul tie with that young man that you said you didn't really want to have intimate times with. And you regret that. And you let that hover over your head like a dark cloud. And you just can't seem to forget it. And that's what a soul tie does. A soul tie ties you to somebody and to their energy. And when it's not in a place of love, then what manifests is kind of darkness. And then there's this place of you that goes dark. And it's an intimate place of you. And it's an intimate, not only physically, but emotionally. When women are intimate with men, we're more about the emotions. That's why a lot of times you'll hear we're slow cookers. We're not microwaves. Guys are microwaves. We are slow cookers. You gotta warm us up. Sorry. You gotta warm us up. You gotta start in the morning for whatever you're trying to get to that evening.
Yeah.
And it's a work. There's work to be involved. So you kind of did the microwave moment, and you're going, oh, so wasn't me. Oh my God, what did I do? And you created this soul tie, and you just thought it, you know, it's this, it's not that big of a deal. It is that big of a deal, but it's very easy for you to cut that soul tie. And that's the part that I hear in the back end of this argument, or not argument, conversation. There's an argument inside your head. The back end of this conversation is, how do I let that go so I can just be Ann again? I can be light and airy and smiley and giggly. And if I even wanted to skip down the sidewalk, how can I be her again? And a soul tie will weight you down. It'll chain you, and you feel like you just can't move like you used to. You can't flow like you used to. And it's okay. We've all created them. Very rare has anyone not created them. I wish people wouldn't. I did. I created soul ties that I've had to cut. I'm not going to lie. And that's where the addiction to approval has yet another hook in on you, because then you're in this argument also of the approval of that action, and then the approval or lack thereof you give yourself for doing action. So that's what I'm hearing on the other side of this, is I'm hearing the female spiritual side and how that's kind of dark, and you just want that to be gone. You just want to be in. And when that is gone and that soul tie is removed, you won't gravitate to that same type of relationship. You'll gravitate to what it is your true essence is. So for whatever reason, I'm real wordy today, but that's what's coming out. And Sean gets to be the not wordy person today. I get to be the wordy person. He gets to be the not wordy person today. But I'm hearing all the spiritual. I'm hearing the heaviness. And I want to tell you, Anne, that it's merely a decision to cut this soul tie to that young man and say, yes, I made a mistake and I went to an uncomfortable place, and I'm done that. I'm done with that. And you can ask God to just remove that soul tie and to make you whole again. And it'll happen. It really is that simple. I know you're smiling. You're like, no, it really is that simple. And what are you laughing at? Tell me.
So I have another issue with that. The issue is, so I was brought up Catholic, and I did my confirmation and everything. And I came out of uni, and I was so like devoted. Like I was doing children's liturgy for like 12 years. I was at church every Sunday. I really loved my faith. Like I was so proud of it. And all my friends weren't. And that was okay. They had their own, they were atheists or agnostics and Muslim, Hindu, whatever. And then I sort of, as I grew up, I'm drawn more towards Hinduism. And I don't know what it is, but I think it's to do with the fact that my ancestors were Hindu, and I have a real problem with being Catholic because I don't want to. This is me just jumping. Like I'm 24, but I'm thinking like when I have kids, I want them to be Hindu because I'm Sri Lankan and I want them to be like Sri Lankan Hindu, blah, blah, blah. This is like way in the future. But like, I don't know what it is, but I'm drawn like, I don't know what it, I don't know. And then I told my mom, and she said that your granddad was very interested in Hinduism, and he would always read about that. But, we never took, and he would go into like temples and he would do what he found peace in, I guess. But my grandma was very like, no, we're Catholic. She was very staunch in her position. So that's another thing that I have difficulty in. Like when I ask God, I'm like, who am I asking?
So then there's your question. That's what you ask. You address the maker of the universe and you go, who am I asking here? Who am I asking? Now, as you do that, because your heart is searching for peace.
Yeah.
And that's why you gravitate to Hinduism. It's a very peaceful practice.
But so is Catholicism.
Sorry, say that again?
And so is Catholicism. So that's what I don't understand why I broke away.
I'll speak to the Catholicism of scaredy cat. And if you screw up, you go to purgatory. That ain't a very peaceful conversation.
Yeah.
We'll just go there. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but yeah, if you do this, you got a black dot on your soul, right? And then you got to go, I get it all. So that's just the way. So here's
Well,
the thing. Go ahead.
And through all this, you're searching for the peace and here's what I'm getting to. When you're having a conversation in your meditation and you're asking a higher power, if any of those conversations, like Sean just said, creates anxiety, worry, doubt, dread, fear, concern, any of those dark emotions, then you need to question who it is you're hearing from. Because God is, and there's 9 characteristics that are very easy to remember that I told Sean and Sharon the other day. Here's a good way to remember it. The first 3 are 1 syllable, the next 3 are 2 syllable, and the next 3 are 3 syllable. These are the 9 characteristics that if it has anything other than these to deal with, I throw it out. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. And if it goes against any of those, I would question with whom I'm having a conversation spiritually.
Okay.
Does that make sense how I said that? Because what you're feeling, this is what Sean talks about when he talks about the DNA. This is what you're feeling. You're feeling the DNA from your grandparents and their choices.
Yes.
You're feeling their DNA. That's why this is so key. This is why I can't let go of Sean Murphy. This is why it's so key to figure out who you are and who God has created you to be, because you're affecting the DNA. And you're affecting the DNA that are still on this planet that came before you.
Yeah.
And you're feeling their angst. You're feeling their questions, their concerns, and their journey. Good thing is, Ann, that's their journey. Sean can help you center on yours. That's where his brain work, his mind work, his rewiring of the brain allows Ann to have a moment instead of Ann's grandma or Ann's grandfather. And it's okay for you to think something differently than them. That is okay. That's where addiction to approval keeps us set in, for lack of better words, and I'm not saying it is, but a generational curse or a generational feeling or a generational path. So this is why I'm so adamant about supporting Sean and getting this message out that addiction to approval will keep you locked into a generational path that quite possibly God might be calling you out of and into a different one.
Okay.
It's just having the guts to go, I'm gonna do something different, is like super hard in family when it comes to family stuff. That's super hard. And you're 22, right?
24.
24. Okay, you're 24.
And a
so
half.
At 20, yeah, 24 and a half. So at your 20s, even in your 40s, because I still feel it some, not near as much, but in your 20s, going against anything that is opposite of what your family thinks is really challenging. And this is a moment where you get to learn how to stand on your own.
Did you just say that?
I did. Shut up, Sean. You're not allowed to talk right now. Be quiet. I'm not addicted to his approval, y'all. Did y'all hear that? No, it is super, super hard. It's super hard. It's been hard in my 30s and 40s, but it was really, really challenging in my 20s. And this is you, for lack of better words, coming of age. This is you coming into your independence and your adulthood. So that's why you're like, I don't know that the skin that I'm in fits me right yet. Like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, because when I told my parents that I wanted to, like, I didn't say I wanted to, like, convert, but I was like, I wanted to study Hinduism a little bit. They weren't happy at all. Like, my dad was like, yeah, I mean, I get it because our ancestors, but, like, we're in the now, so You need to focus on the now. And now we're Catholic. And I was like, I don't feel that connection anymore. I don't feel, you know, that thing that I had.
Yeah. So this is the beauty of it, is you are your own being with your own spirit, your own soul, your own body. So you can have your own conversation with the maker of the universe, and you can ask him. And then you get the highest of highest powers to help you make the decision.
Yeah.
And then he's so conveniently dropped into your lap someone who knows how to rewire your brain in order to help you accept those changes and walk through those. And Sean means no harm, and he will never use it for harm, and he's safe. So now you've got kind of the best of both worlds. So that's kind of cool.
So has anybody been watching Anne? Just curious. Do you see what just happened?
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what you just did during this conversation? Maybe habitually, from a habit?
No.
When you were talking about the relationship with the guy, which was the initial conversation, yeah, her hair changed.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you started talking about God, you put your hair up. And now that conversation's over, your hair came back down. So tell me about your hair. What's the story behind your hair? It's gorgeous. It's amazing. Yeah, see, if I were to have a conversation about anything you just said, that would have been normal. Tell me about your hair.
I mean,
what do you love about it? What is it? What does your hair mean to you? Its length. When you go get it cut, you get it trimmed, and it's maybe you let it grow a little longer, but just you want it to be a certain length. Tell me about your hair.
I mean, I've always wanted it long.
Right.
I remember that when I was young, my mom used to always cut it because she would want it to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But I would always be like, no, I want it long. But she would make that decision for me. So, and as a child, I mean, your parents' decision overrules yours. So, yeah. And then when I got to uni, I stopped cutting it because it just makes me feel, this is really weird, but makes me feel more Sri Lankan. And I'd always tried pushing that away from me. When I was in school, I not that I didn't want to be Sri Lankan, but I just wanted to hide who I was. So this makes me feel like more of a Sri Lankan woman. And I guess I'm really proud of it. And I love that it's long and black and jet black. And I don't know, it makes me happy.
So then why did you put it up when you were talking about your faith? To protect it.
To protect what?
Because who used to cut your hair?
My mom.
And who's a little distraught that you might be thinking about Hinduism?
I don't get it.
Is your mom a little distraught? Your parents a little distraught that you're thinking about possibly not converting, but studying other things?
Yeah.
And when you talked about that, your hair instantly went up into protection. It went into a bun. We couldn't see it anymore. Do you see how your body operates at such a subconscious level?
Wow. Oh, wow.
So just be aware of that.
Okay.
Listen, and so for everybody that's on here, I'm gonna, and I'm coming right back to you, but I want to switch topics for just a second. And it's not topics. I want to make a point. And the point is this: you're prospecting with a gosh darn script that somebody gave you that doesn't even understand the first part of humanity, and you're trying to puke a script on somebody to get them to join you in business. Is it any wonder why your business is where it's at? We're in the business of humans. And when you start to pay attention to humans the way they deserve to be paid attention to, things will change forever. Could you imagine walking up to Shireen and trying to convince them to join you in business? With that challenge that she had over her, that she can't be fun, that she's not good, she's not sure if she's good enough any place, anywhere, anytime, and everybody's got her holding her in doubt. And then Anne shows up with this challenge with this boyfriend that there's still a soul tie to, that all of a sudden she wants to do this and look at Hindu and look at all of these things. And then we're going to say, hey, listen, you should be trading. What the frick? Now, I'm not saying every time you have a conversation with somebody, it needs to be a 4.5 hour. This is going to be a long prospecting conversation. Get your notebook out. We're going to break some old habits. Realize that the pain you sit with, they pretty much got the same damn thing going on in their world. So Anne, hi, how are you?
I'm great, thank you.
This old story that you started off with, the story that continues to run through you with that relationship that you had. When would you like that story to change?
Now.
Okay. Is it okay if that story goes away?
Yeah.
Okay. If that story goes away, what would be the new story you'd tell?
Of what? The relationship?
What would be the story that fills that? Suppose that part of your life all of a sudden just got sucked out. Something's going to fill it. Is it going to be another story that's similar to it? Because the brain looks for two things: a pattern, or will it kill me? And since that story didn't kill you, but it killed a part of you, killed a part of your joy, of happiness, of everything else. So the brain's going to look to try to avoid that, and it may fill it with another story of you not being good enough because it looks for the pattern. I'm guessing if we were to have a conversation, there's other moments in your life where you felt you weren't good enough. Would that be fair to say?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. And so if we don't need to be doing the shell game and just swapping shells around.
Yeah.
What would be a good story you would like to, what was the lesson you learned from that, from this moment that with this young man? Did you learn how to be able to make decisions more quickly? All right. Remember the last day when he said, come over, and you said, that's it. You just stopped. You said you learned what it's like to come to the moment in time where this is the day I've had enough.
But that wasn't a very fun moment. Like that was all
it's okay. It's not fun, but if you kept going, would it have been worse?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So it's a pretty good moment then, isn't it? Could you imagine if you were still in that relationship?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at what your body just did. So that was a good moment then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So this is what Dr. Wayne Dyer talks about: change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. That thing that you just told me wasn't a very fun moment in your day, fun moment in your life to go, I'm it, and the pain that it put you through. I can't believe and all of the fear and doubt that showed up. But in that instant, you had that explosion of, I'm worthy, I'm enough, and I'm not going to do this. I don't care if it breaks me. I'm just not doing that. But now that we look at it, we go, man, that was the greatest day of my life. Yes or yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. See the way we look at things, and the things we look at can change. So do you remember that day?
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost too well, right?
Yeah.
And do you remember, was it a weekend? Was it a weekday? Do you remember? Was it afternoon when you finally made that decision? I want to go back to just the moment before that. But do you remember kind of the moment?
I went shopping with my mum to the local, like, it's not a supermarket, it's like a tiny food store. Yeah. And we were discussing him. Mm-hmm. And she was the one that was like, when you're in a relationship, you can't be this unhappy. Like, this is not what relationship is about. And I reacted really badly. Because my mom was in she's in an arranged marriage. So I was like, well, you don't know. She did know. I was like, well, you don't know. And I reacted really badly, and I was angry, but I wasn't angry at her. I was angry at myself.
Okay. So you remember that moment?
Yeah.
And here's what I want you to do. I want you to freeze that moment. How long ago was this moment? Was it 6 months ago, 5 months ago, a year ago?
Nine months ago.
9 months ago. So you're frozen, you're walking the market, you're with your mom, and your mom just said, relationships can't be this way. And you're like, what would you know? Freeze. Because you haven't made the call yet.
Yeah.
But you're going to go make the call. Are you going to make the call from the market or when you get back home?
When I get home.
Okay. So right now it's building.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's building to a point of, I'm done.
Yeah.
So I want you to freeze in the market, and you and I are going to go back to the market.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only 9 months ago, so your hair might have been a little shorter. But I want you to see yourself, and I want you to see your mom, and we're going to do something a little different.
Okay.
You're going to walk over to your mom.
Okay.
And you're going to tap her on the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to say, I made it through. And you're going to tell her, thank you. And I want you to walk over there. You can close your eyes and do that. I want you to walk over there. I want you to tap her on the shoulder. She's going to look at you, and she's going to be a little perplexed because you're there, but she knows this is the future you. And she's going to be so surprised because she sees you. You're still just as beautiful as you were then, and you're as beautiful as you are now. But she's going to be a little surprised when you tell her thank you. What does she say to you when you tell her thank you?
She said, she calls me her mom.
Mm-hmm.
So she says that in Tamil. And she says, I always love you.
Okay. And then you let her know that because of who she is, she let you get through the next 9 months where she might not have been able to do it. You might not have been able to do it without her. What does she say to that?
She just looks at me and smiles.
Okay. And so now we're going to put her back in the freeze frame. We're going to go over and talk to you for just a second.
Okay.
And now you tap you on the shoulder. And I don't know why I heard this just huge scream like two little kindergarten kids seeing each other. Like you're just so excited to see each other. I don't know. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's not. But you tap yourself on the shoulder and you see you.
Yeah.
And you want to say, listen, there's some stuff about to go down that you're going to put your self-doubt and your self-worth in a whole lot of other people's hands. But all I can tell you is that 9 months from now, this is who we are. And we're pretty freaking amazing. So when you say that to her, to this 9 months younger of you, what does she say?
She's crying.
Yeah.
She leans towards me,
Okay.
puts her head on my shoulders.
Yep.
I'm rubbing her back.
Yep. And I heard her say, "You're the only one that understands me."
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell her, the 9-month earlier one standing in the market, can you tell her thank you for being amazing? Because had she not made that decision that's about to happen in an hour or so, you, the you of now, could still just absolutely be distraught. So tell her how proud you are of her and thank her for the strength that's allowed you to be in this moment. And also tell her that over the course of the next 9 months, what you were attached to will no longer be. You'll have people, let her know that there'll be people that come into her life that remind her of Anne's greatness. And it's not going to be another book or seminar that you attend. It's going to be these nut jobs who you get on a call with. So just remind her, get on the dang call. And what does she say now to you, the present? What does the 9-month previous say to you now?
She's laughing.
That's a good thing.
She's squeezing my hand.
Okay. Give her a hug, give her a kiss, call her that name that you affectionately are called, and say, we'll see you in a few.
Okay.
And now you walk over to me. We're still standing there. And tell me what this experience was like for you to go thank your mom and to thank yourself.
Releasing. Just relieved.
Yeah. And take a big breath and come back to here. Hi, Anne.
Hello, sure.
Do a body scan. Tell me what you feel.
My upper body's feeling a lot looser.
Yeah. I bet there's somebody on the call that could relate to that, Shireen. If she's still here, she may not be. This is where you carry it all.
Yeah, most of my stress I carry it on my back.
And ladies, I'd like to find every guy in the world that's an idiot, and it'll take me a long time. Well, it won't take me long to find them. It'll take me long to pop them all in the nose. But this is it's not right. This is where we, as a community, get to do things a little different. I get calls all the time. People watch these videos sometimes and they go, "What do you teach?" I go, "I teach the moment." Yeah, but how do you sell that? I said, "I have no idea." I said, "I haven't had to sell it once." Congratulations, Anne. How do you feel now?
I can breathe a little better.
Okay. Now remember, who did all the work? You
I
did. Yeah. You can do this at any time. I see Rhonda about ready to fall into the screen. Yes, Rhonda?
I'm just so proud of you, you know, and I have to tell you, thank you. Because you let us see freedom come rushing in one more time. And you let us learn how to sit in compassion and in kindness and in love, and then see joy and sit in joy with you, because you're willing to put yourself out there and you're willing to allow us to walk with you and hold you up and breathe in the amazing breath of what it feels like to breathe freedom and to exhale all the doubt and all the worry. And for me, it makes my day so full to know that I got to be a part of freedom in someone's heart today, and that you're lighter in spirit, and you're lighter, and your shoulders are free, and you're free to keep your hair down, and you're free to smile that amazing contagious smile, and that you shared this, of all the people in the world, you shared that with us. And I am eternally grateful that you allowed us to do that. Thank you for letting me see more freedom. And those moments when doubt creeps into my thoughts, that I can pull on this moment with Anne, and I can go, you know what? No, there's freedom. There's freedom. And there's freedom from worry and from choices and anything. And you let us be that with you. So a huge, huge big East Texas thank you. And I love you. And I'm so proud of you. And you deserve this. You deserve this. You're so worthy.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love it.
By the way, Anne, you were just in church.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. Yeah.
We didn't have a name over the door other than family. We didn't have a book to read from other than our own lives. We didn't have anyone to follow but our own heart. Because if we're made in his likeness, then I guess we already got it. So thank you for being a perfect example of awakening.
Thank you.
You realize how little time we've known each other? And do you realize how close we are now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. People ask me all the time, well, you got to build rapport. No, you got to build depth.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
I don't need to know whether you like green or eggs and ham. I'm on a small talk diet. If we're gonna circle in time and space, and we have already, there's no doubt that eons before, generations before, all of our families had to circle in time and space. Somewhere we're all connected. And if we really go way back, depending upon your beliefs, we kind of all are. So, and thank you for your courage. Thank you for your trust. Take another big breath for me. That's a great,
though.
That's a great smile. All righty. Hey, I want to go to Elizabeth. Hey, Elizabeth.
Oh, let me turn my video on. Sorry, I had my video off because I've been like cleaning and I didn't want to distract anybody. But since we're talking about relationships, I kind of wanted to share what has helped me grow as a person and become more strong-minded and less filled with anxiety. So when I was 22, actually no, before I was 22, I think I was dating this one guy for like 4 years. And he verbally abused me so much. Like, I don't even know why I put up with it. And my family tried to like get me out of the relationship. They warned me and I was like, no, you don't know him like that. He's a good person, blah, blah, blah. And he basically like isolated me from my family. And so my family moved down south. I stayed in Ohio to live with him. And then I started to realize like the truth about what my parents were saying. So then I ended up moving down to South Carolina. And during the time I was down there, I was so depressed. And I couldn't figure out why, because I was in such a toxic relationship. And so I started working out. And mind you, I played sports my entire life. It's not like the epiphany of working out was happening because of that reason. But I went to the gym every single day that I was there. And during that time, I started to feel better, but I still felt lonely. I felt like there was something wrong with me. And I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a study by Princeton University where if you start to exercise, your brain becomes more resilient to stress. And so I feel like because I started to work out, that I got strong mentally. So I didn't really felt like South Carolina was the state that I missed Cleveland so much. So I moved back home, and then like an idiot, I go back with that same guy again. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be with him. I'm not going to let him treat me like that. Like, I don't deserve that. And then 2 months into the relationship, we're back together, and he starts treating me like crap again, starts verbally abusing me. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm done. So then I enrolled back into school, and I started playing sports. And when you play a sport for like a Division III college, you're practicing every day. Like, we were running a mile in under 8 minutes. And so it was just straight exercise. And I was really stressed out because I had to make money. I was working 3 jobs. I was going to school. I had mass amounts of stress. And then I started to realize, like, I don't know, I started to feel better mentally. And then after that, my parents moved from South Carolina to Georgia. And then I went to go visit them. And I was down there for New Year's, and I loved it. I thought Savannah, Georgia was so beautiful. So I moved down there after I graduated from my community college that I went to at Lakeland. And so after I graduated from there, I moved down, and then I ended up getting married to this guy in the military. Like, so quickly. Like, he proposed to me after 3 months of being married to him. I didn't know him. And then after I got to know him, I didn't like what he was doing. The relationship just wasn't what I thought it was. And so I was basically planning my divorce, like, on my honeymoon. So that happened. And then I decided to move back to Cleveland. So that was stressful. Here I am with like $1,000 in my bank account. I'm all alone. My parents don't live back in Cleveland anymore. I felt like I had nobody. So I enrolled back into school at the same community college. And then I started playing sports again. I started to play softball because you're technically allowed to play 2 years at a community college. So I did 1 year, and then I did my second year. So there I am working out, playing sports again. And then where was I? I started working, and then I started dating another guy, which didn't end up working out. So I was like, I'm trying to figure out where I was going with this. But basically, because I stayed like, oh, okay. My husband, now, he got addicted to drugs, which led me to me going back to school for being a drug counselor, because I wanted to help him. And he used to just verbally abuse me too, but it was not him, it was the drugs. And so what I started to work out, and this was like after we even had our kid. That's when it got really, really, really bad with the drugs. And I was going through a really, really tough time. I had to put a civil protection order against him, which was like the hardest thing I had to do, because I had to protect myself. I had to protect my child, and everybody kept saying, and I was in school for my master's too. I was like, I have all this crazy stuff going on in my life, but yet what I continued to do during all this stress is I was working out every single day, no matter what. And he used to tell me, he'd be like, oh, you're obsessed with yourself. Oh, you care about your looks and the guys at the gym, and you're probably like, he would say the most like insane things to me. And I'm just like, okay, no, I'm not. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I just built up this resilience, I feel like, no matter what was being said to me. And I truly feel like exercise, or just like even taking a walk, like I'm not talking about like hardcore boot camps, like because I was doing all of it. I was doing boot camps. I was like seeing a trainer sometimes when I could. Every given moment I was working out, and I felt great. And then I was like literally planning my divorce like for when I graduated, but then my husband ended up getting off of drugs about in January, actually. This is actually recent. So he proved himself. So everything's good now, but I mean, now he's like cool with me working out. He doesn't really care, but I just know it was the drugs. And I just wanted to share that no matter what you go through, no matter how many relationships you go through, just focus on yourself and what makes you happy, whether it be like reading books or meditating or working out. Just the right things will come to you. Like I always knew, everybody's like, oh, you're not going to try and make your marriage work out. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm not going to be treated this way. Like, I was basically like sticking up for myself and what I love to do, you know? And I feel like whenever you do that, the right people will come into your life, whichever way, you know? So I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
I'm sure there's many people that absolutely tuned in time and space with that. So yeah, the key is at some point, there's a point to where you can find a way to start saying, okay, enough is enough. I do need to start taking care of myself. So the great news is that Elizabeth's a perfect example of being able to get through that and to the other side. So what's that phrase? If they can do it, I can do it. So.
Yeah, I had a lot of people, they're like, oh my God. And I actually graduated with like a 4.0. Like I had so much stress on me and I still managed to come out on top. And all my friends were like, my close friends that knew that what was going on with me, because I was being like mentally terrorized like every day. I was at the police station. I was sleeping at my friend's house. Like I had stuff like taped onto my car. Like if I were to even show you what I went through, people would be like, why are you not in a mental institute? But I feel like working out was like my de-stressor. And I didn't let any words get to me because I knew they weren't true. Because I already knew who I was as a person. I just knew that he was just not himself. And I knew I could maybe possibly save him, which I'm glad I stuck it out, because I kind of, he saved himself actually. Because I don't know, yesterday, I don't know, my husband, he said he got black magic put on him. And I mean, whether it was true or not, you know, placebo effect or not, he went overseas to get it taken off. And ever since then, he's been good. So I just feel like, I don't know, that's a little bit of my story.
Thank you for sharing that. And working out does do a lot for the brain. So awesome, awesome, awesome. Moshe! Where's my brother Moshe?
Hi, everyone. Sean, you know, I sometimes I don't even know if I should even raise my hand anymore. You're literally like my soul brother. Every question that I ever have, you just like end up answering them. I'm just gonna put my hand down. But I do have a comment. And I do have one question too.
Okay, good.
I feel like, yes, we all do have very similar situations where we are addicted to some type of approval, and that we all have to go to that inner child, to those moments that really cause those traumatic experiences.
Yep.
For us to hold on to that situation, which in turn affects us in the future.
Yep.
Right? And learn to accept that that's okay, that whatever happened at that point in time, it was not your fault, right? And so one thing I've realized, oh my God, is like every experience that we go through now as adults that we're consciously aware of that happen, is like we have to peel a layer of ourselves and expose ourselves to ourselves and accept it. Like, okay, this is why I'm reacting this way, because of this past experience, and just accept it. And then in turn also realize that the person in front of you, like you said, probably has gone through exactly the same thing, and that it's okay. So through that, like, what have you done to, like, when you realize, okay, this situation, I'm reacting that way? Like, what's a mind hack that you instantly do to just keep yourself moving, progressing forward?
So a couple of things. One, there's never a minute that goes by, let alone a second that goes by, that I realize my DNA doesn't affect my son. So I'm constantly in the state of, if I shout out, if I lose my cool, if I sit here and go, well, that was the dumbest thing anybody could have ever said, that I'm saying that to my son, and I'm wiring that into my grandchildren.
So I guess I'm not alone in the way that I think as well.
So when we realize we're all connected, when Rhonda was saying that Anne was dealing with not only her grandparents, but her grandparents' grandparents and her grandparents' grandparents' grandparents, everything, every bit of DNA that has worked to get you to this moment in time, to make you the avatar that we all are, comes from generations and eons of hard work and trials and tribulations and backstabbing and joyous moments and births and deaths, and then it gets dropped into this bundle of joy that makes us ignorant that we can find joy in a weed and give joy in a weed to a parent. Life's pretty cool, and yet we're slaves.
Yeah,
we're told what to eat, when to eat, what to wear, what to say, what not to say, what accent to pick up, what language to speak. And then when we get free, we're supposed to have this freedom, but we're more in prison now than we were when we were a slave at 5. So the hack that I come to is, what would I do if I was 5?
Do what I want.
Yeah. So I sit here and I do what I want, not respond to what everybody else says to me. Somebody in a marketing, I think I said this yesterday, maybe, I don't know. Somebody in a marketing, I had sent them my headshots, and they cut my head off and put it on a guy who's in a black suit standing like this. My head, they just took my head and put it on another body. I didn't even respond. I just said, I'm out. What do you mean you're out? I go, if you're going to do that to me without asking me, what are you going to do to me by asking me?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my hack. Does that help?
Oh, of course, yes. And honestly, like, I love to ask you questions because I know we think alike, and I just want your insight on it to see if we are on the same page. And one thing that you also answered, because, watching Anne, tell her story, and Shireen, and just everybody on here, it just reassures yourself so much more that you are the only one that understands yourself, right? Nobody can ever assume what you're thinking, right? So because of that, like, one thing that I have noticed, I called it the red flag system earlier. The way that I kind of thought about that was because my mother, as a kid, always told me, no girlfriends, just friends, right? No girlfriend, just friends. Because if you expect too much too soon, you will be misled, right?
Yep.
She would always tell me that. And now, that I'm going through all these experiences with you guys and my past years, I've realized exactly what she was telling me. And it's like, when people stop pretending to be something they're not,
right,
everything just becomes so clear, right? And it's since we were also talking about relationships, is that not every person that we meet that we're attracted to is going to be a person that we end up being in a relationship with, right?
Yep.
And so her principle of always being friends first always stuck with me because it kind of gives you that safeguard of getting to know that the mind of that person before you can even soul tie to them, right? And that's so important that I wanted to share that, because if we learn people's mindsets, and if we think that it's worth it to want to go into investing in another person that you think that they're going to grow with you, then that soul tie is worth it, right?
Yep. Awesome, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Love you tons.
Same.
Hey, Vach.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Vach.
I feel really emotional right now. It's weird. I'm not really talking about relationships. Okay, so ever since yesterday, I've been feeling really like, I don't know, like something's trying to like weigh me down, I guess.
Yep.
And after we got off the call, I was on the phone with Kaya and we had like our own little like breakthrough moment, and then I went to go watch this movie like called Little Buddha, and I was feeling okay. I was feeling like upbeat and happy, and then I just started feeling like super sleepy and like in an instant.
Yep.
And so I went to sleep, I guess, and it's really weird, but like I felt like I couldn't get up. Like I can move my hands, I can move my arms, I can move my eyes, but I couldn't really get up.
Yep.
So my phone was next to me, and I was like texting with my fingers, like, and I texted Rhonda, and I was like, please pray for me. And so my girlfriend came back home because she had went out. She came back home, and I was still sleeping, and she was like, babe, when are you gonna wake up? And I'm just like I couldn't really like talk that much, but I guess something like pushed me and asked her like, what's your favorite Bible verse, which is so weird. And then once she told me, I guess I felt like this unlocking.
Yep.
And it like, I guess I like shot up. And I was up and I could move and I could talk, and I was just like, this is so weird. So I texted Rhonda everything that happened, and she was like, I think you're dealing with spiritual oppression right now. And I was like, okay, I don't really know what that means, but okay. And she was just like, I think, well, I told her, that I was like the same story, like sleepy and dragging. And she was just explaining to me, she was like, whatever it is trying to stop you, from.
Vach, let me stop you. Vach, let me stop you.
Yes.
Do you want to keep repeating that, or what's the next thing you want? Do you want more of that or something different?
I don't know what I want right now,
Well,
honestly.
Here's what I will tell you is that repeating it all brings it all back. So do you want more of that, or do you want something different?
I guess something different.
Okay. Well, when you decide, let me know, because here's the thing. Being able to hold on to it is part of a story of being able to hold on to things that weigh you down. You know why? What happened yesterday was absolutely a miracle. And you know what also happened yesterday? You asked me a request on the amount of books that you sold, and you saw a number that probably excited you. And now these are ways for you to find, because of what you did to help a friend, because of what you did to help yourself, this is a way for you to stay and to stay stuck in the things that aren't, to avoid the good things that are happening in your world? Because this isn't you. You know that, right? This isn't you. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when all of a sudden things of good that happen to you, and things of good that happen to you rapidly, all of a sudden, when your girlfriend asks you a Bible phrase, it's like, what's your favorite Bible phrase? You're like, that's weird. That was a good thing that happened to you too, right? That's not a normal question that would have been asked of you.
It was just weird that it, I guess, stopped whatever was going on. Like, it took me out of it.
Yep. So is it okay if you get taken out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've been trying to do that, I guess, all night. Cause I told you yesterday that I've been like going over sermons back to back to back to back, like all night, and
Sure.
praying and everything. But
so here's the question. So that's been going on and on and on. How's it served you right now?
I don't know. I feel like exhausted right now.
Sure. Because you had a cleansing. You finally the thing. Listen, so follow me on this. You know I love you, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure we remember that. You wanted to publish you wanted your poems to be published, right?
Yes.
And how long have you wanted your poems to be published?
A long time.
And then in the blink of 3 days, the book is out and you now have 20 of them sold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty crazy, huh?
Yes.
And so now you're a published author. People purchased your book. See, the difference between a public speaker and a speaker is a public speaker gets paid. You know what the difference is between an author and a published author? A published author gets paid. You got paid for your works. So that's happening. You have a very dear friend that came back to us yesterday. All right? Lots of energy. Lots of energy. Lots of good energy. Lots of defensive energy. There was a marathon that went on yesterday. But the marathon continues. And the marathon now is take care of you. See, it's awesome to be in service of others. That lights my fire, fires me up. I can go for 3-4 days straight in service of others. But when all of a sudden good things start happening to me,
Okay.
So is it okay if some good things happen to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. When's the last time good things happened to you?
Every day.
That's a nice answer.
It's true.
When's the last thing, good things you did rewarded you for being you? When's the last time you worked on good things to happen to you?
Right now, I'm raising my hand and getting out of myself.
Yep. So why is it so painful to do that then?
because I felt like something was trying to keep me that wasn't me.
Right.
And I felt like I was fighting and exhausted.
Yep.
I didn't.
And have you ever known you to not fight?
No. No.
Hello, there's my botch. So remember when somebody you love, somebody that loves you, when you were mad and they tried to make you laugh and you got madder?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of this. You're a fighter and you didn't want to fight. So all of a sudden, when somebody told you to fight, you're like, I'm not fighting. Well, fight. Well, I'm not fighting. You're a fighter. I know I'm a fighter, but I'm feel like I'm not fighting right now. And now you're fighting to not be a fighter. And you don't have to fight to hurt anybody. Isn't it okay for you to just stand and say, enough's enough?
Yeah.
So when's enough enough?
I don't know. I feel like enough's been enough.
I know, but that's the old story. How about the new story of right now? When's enough enough? Because it wasn't enough. You look what's happened in the past 24 hours. See, the good thing is that when you speak to me, it's like speaking to a box of rocks, and I only know a couple of things. and the smartness with which sometimes people have a conversation with me, meaning they give me an answer that most people would go, well, then let's talk about that. We ain't talking about that. You're not fighting. You're fighting to stay stuck. That's what you're fighting for. That's the old story. That's what's got you upset. That's what's got you frustrated. You just entered into the newest phase of your world. Published author, profitable author, with your poems being read by the world, people asking for signed copies of it to put it up in their office because their patients would love it. Intensity time yesterday with a friend. Giving, sharing, receiving, giving. And then yesterday afternoon, it's like, remember what I just shared about what happens when astronauts go to the moon and they come back and they go, what else is there?
Yeah.
You said you brought a friend home yesterday. You asked about your poems and I sent you a number. It's not a huge number, but it's the biggest number you've ever had for the sales of your poems.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it's like, what else is there? I'm a published author, saved a friend, helped a friend, poured into them, got some amazing friends, made some more amazing connections. You're like the patent office in 1918. Did you ever hear that story? You know what the patent office is? It's the place people take ideas that if they have a unique idea, they get to patent it and nobody else can copy it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine 1918, right?
Yeah.
The guy in charge of the patent office, listen, he said, we should just close down the patent office. Nobody's going to create anything new. He literally said that. So what's happening right now is somebody saying, shut down Vach. There can't be anything greater than what's just happened in the past 24 hours. Do you believe that?
Absolutely not.
Then what part of you did that had caused you to sit there and have a pity party?
I don't even know if it was that. Because
Yeah,
like I
was.
said, I don't even feel like it, like.
Well, I know you don't.
It was
That's what I'm
me.
telling you.
Like.
That's the old story.
Yeah, because I guess I feel like me was the one that was listening to gospel music all night and watching sermons and yes, like, and, you know, praying protection over the house and myself and just, you know, like,
So
I
let
feel
me
like
ask
that
you
was
this.
me.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that protection was there before you asked for it?
Yeah.
Based on who you are, right? So it was already there.
Yeah.
So then you went into a state of lack saying, well, I need to ask for more. And the
Yeah.
universe is going, more? We gave her everything we got. Anything she wants, she's got. She's always had it. What is this asking for more? Where's she coming from, this place of lack?
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't strike me
I
as
think
a,
I doubted myself.
yeah. And then that's why you reach out to friends, right? You asked me passion last night on the live.
Yeah.
And passion is what you will sacrifice for. Desire is what you will work for.
Yes.
And so you went into sacrifice mode. Because you heard all these sermons, good, bad, or indifferent, but most people from the front of the church, most people from the front of the pulpit want to put you in a sacrifice mode. Feeling that your sacrifice is saved and served when you serve the church. Now, I'm waiting for the lightning to hit. Okay, I'm okay so far.
Mm-hmm.
Thought you did amazing things yesterday. You awakened, you awoke. I don't know how many different ways you can wake up, but you did that yesterday. You were in service. You were saying things. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I was told I was supposed to say this, so I don't know. You were in a leadership role. I don't know what the hell I'm doing here, but that's just what I'm being told to do. Get out of my way. Right? Oh, is that a laugh? Do I hear a laugh? Oh, change the energy and the energy changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to read this prayer
Yeah,
that I
but not in
from
this,
last night.
but not in this energy.
Not in this energy. I feel like,
No,
well,
I
I
know
guess
it.
I feel a little bit better.
Well, no, not a little bit, but that's you're not there yet.
Sean, you're so funny.
Hey, I'm only good at a couple of things, my love. And so since this is my rodeo, has your energy changed a little bit? I feel it picked up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Hello, Vach.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I am. Aren't I
so
just
funny.
the biggest pain in the ass?
You are so funny. Oh my God.
You'd think after 30, 40,000 hours, I'd finally get the hang of it. So I'm glad it's starting to kick in.
I feel like I doubted my strength a lot.
You did, but here's the thing. It's okay to, as long as you know that you did. See, that's the huge difference right now. You now realize you did. Most people never step out of the doing to see the did. I'm sure that'll be a t-shirt somewhere. Step out of the doing to see the did. Right? Because now you see it. Now you're starting to see it. You're starting to walk away from that going, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds different. Because you can be your smoky, smooth self. but your essence wasn't there. It was more like, I'm my smoky, smooth self.
Yeah. And I feel like I felt a lot better last night after the sermons, and then when I woke up, it was like I was like eerie and quiet. So like I don't feel like the sermons made me feel like sacrificing or anything like that, because I feel like I learned a lot, like, what are, I guess, passionate meaning, what are you willing to suffer for? And I was like, I feel like in my past, I suffered for nothing, but like now, I'm willing to suffer for salvation. I'm willing to suffer for, being free from this bondage that I felt before. Like, and then I guess it's a really big part that I guess didn't stick with me, but it's sticking more with me now. But saying like they were teaching about like the full circles that like God teaches in full circles, like the circle of life and like the circle of a woman's womb, like things like that. And the pastor was saying that when that if she could draw, she would draw like circles going up in like a spiral, and that a lot of people feel like they're just running in circles and having to deal with the exact same thing over and over again. But if you look at it from afar instead of just looking at it in these circles, they've actually been going up in this spiral and completing each circle as they're rising up. And I feel like this was just a full circle moment for me with you just talking to me that like that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Feel better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So can I read the poem? Not the poem, here's a prayer.
Sure. Yeah, because now Vach is reading it.
Why is my phone ringing? Oh, okay. Okay, so the prayer says, Heavenly Father, thank you for Jesus. Thank you for making him he who which had no sin, all of my bondage, all of my weakness, all of my limitations, and all of my losses. You placed in his body and nailed it to the cross. And when he was raised, free and victorious, I was raised up too. And because he dwells in me, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. I rebuke fear. I rebuke anxiety. I rebuke pain. I rebuke struggle, because greater is he that is in me than that is in the world. I rebuke fear. I rebuke intimidation, because greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Unleash my hands from bondage. Unleash my talents. Unleash my gifts. Unleash my beliefs, and send me into the promised land. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you for that, Vach.
Thank you for that, Sean.
I love you.
Love you too.
Let's go to Edith Victoria. Good morning, Edith.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Outstanding.
Good. There's Liz. I actually met Liz from Neno, and I heard about you from Neno, and I've been watching you on YouTube, and I hopped on for the first time yesterday, and I was talking to everybody on the chat that I needed to take a nap after yesterday. Like, I felt like I was being healed too. I didn't know that I still needed to heal some things about me, and my story was somewhat similar. I mean, not to that extent, but similar. I've dealt with that, experience, and I thought I forgave that person and even my parents, but I realized that there was still healing that needed to be done. When I was listening to the prayers that you guys were saying yesterday, I was just crying and crying, and I want to thank the community because it was really cleansing to me.
Awesome. Well, Edith, thank you for that. And Corinne, I need you to hear that what you went through yesterday is still having the residual effect of bringing joy to individuals today. So you're
Most
amazing.
definitely, I'm glad that I was able to come on yesterday and I was able to pray with everybody. And I'm so happy that I finally hopped on. And, you know, yesterday there was a lot going on, but, you know, I'm glad that I did come on because, you know, I'm about to finish my master's in school psychology and I'm trying to figure out if I want to even pursue my PhD. And yesterday spoke volumes to me that this is where I'm supposed to be. And I'm going to pursue something in that direction because I want to help people. And, you know, when we have had, when we experience certain things, we want to be able to heal ourselves, and that in the way that we do that sometimes is also by helping people that are dealing with some of the same things that we're dealing with. And that really resonated with me yesterday, that this is my calling. This is what I'm supposed to do too.
That is so awesome, Edith. That is absolutely awesome to hear that. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful. And I actually just do have a question, and
Sure.
my question stems from the, you know, the relationship question is that I have been working on a lot of personal development, and I've been working on, you know, bettering myself, and, you know, being on Neno's call and listening to you at the end of the day. It's like, I start off my day with Neno. I live in California, so
I get it.
I've been working on waking up early, and trust me,
I get
it's been very difficult. So I start my day off with Neno, and then I end my evening listening to you. And, you know, I've spent this whole time, a little bit before even quarantine started, working on myself and building myself up, because my experience has been similar to what these ladies have been experiencing, where, you know, I've had to really be more confident with who I am. I was changing who I was when I was in relationships with other people, and I was unable to be myself. And now I could see that I'm sharing who I am with, like, my close friends, and even with them, I was very reserved. Like, I wasn't comfortable giving hugs, and I wasn't comfortable with certain things because it is part of my family. We don't give hugs. We don't say, I love you. We don't do any of these things. And I realized that I am a product of my environment. And now it brings me so much joy that I can do that. So my question to you is, how would I go about, you know, wanting, you know, dating again? I've taken a pretty long break now, and I'm glad that quarantine happened when it did, because I still needed to cleanse and work on myself.
So, Edith, do you journal?
I do, and I started journaling because of you. And I journal your questions, and you know, I even had to get a diamond pen, because I'm like, no, I have to be vibrating with highest energy. And I'm like, no, queens write with beautiful pens and diamonds. And
I love it.
I had to find a nice journal. I started, you know, feeling the pages, feeling what I'm writing, and really being present. And one of the messages that you said is, you know, to be present when you're doing something. And I was like, that changed a lot for me too, because before I would just journal and write, and then I would put it away. But now the words that I'm writing on paper are coming to life, because I'm actually, you know, applying that in my life when I'm out and about. I'm like, I said that I want to be I want to have better relationships, and now I'm giving those hugs. I'm telling people I'm grateful I'm grateful to have them in my life, and I wasn't able to do that before.
So, Edith, one of the things I would encourage you to journal is kind of vision cast a little bit. So, I don't know that any of you have heard this, so I'll tell you. I was I would put myself as a very eligible bachelor back in my 30s. I had businesses, had my own home, had my own homes. extremely polite, courteous, kind, and I would go out with some not so courteous and kind females that my mother really didn't like. So my mother always had some amazing language to say about them. So one day I said, you know what? And I was in the study of law of attraction before we called it law of attraction. I was in personal development, and I decided to write out exactly who I wanted. And all of the things that they would do for me, all of the things they would do through me. And I created and I wrote it so tight that I said, this will keep me from having to deal with anybody for a long time, because there's no way somebody out there exists with these qualifications. Had to be blonde, had to be this, had to be wildly intelligent, had to have their own business, had to do all of these things. So I put so much criteria in there. And I'm sitting in my office in Puerto Rico. I had offices, I lived there for 7 years, and I got this mail, this envelope in the mail. And the only thing inside of it, do you know what a Polaroid picture is?
Yeah.
You know, the white on the bottom? There was a note on there, and all the note said was call her, and it was a phone number. Now, I know whose handwriting it was. It was my mother's handwriting. And I called my mom and I said, what is this? He goes, she's a good girl, call her. I'm like, what is she, trapped? What, there's no note? It's a picture of her and her dad? At dinner somewhere? That woman is now my bride of 20 years. And that woman is an attorney, is blonde, had a family business of 50 years, wildly intelligent. Absolutely. The first thing she did was buy me all new clothes. Somebody to take care of me. Now, in my bathroom, I wound up with only one drawer left before we got married. So she was able to take control in a way that allowed me to give up the control. What I mean is that I wrote her out almost to the cell, at the cellular level. What I'm going to encourage you is, how do you go back out dating? Find the one that you don't have to go back out and be something different for. And when you do that, I did it. Listen, energy is energy. Follow me on this. I did it with the intent to avoid having to deal with anything. What do they say about love? It'll find you when you're not looking.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Mine got mailed to me in an envelope from Florida to Puerto Rico.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So most people don't know that my bride and I, who I wake up every morning to ask how I can be a better husband, and my son, I ask how I can be a better dad, and I get graded every week on a scale of 1 to 10, because my goal is to get better every day. It doesn't matter that I have people who show up on calls. My son, Mason, will listen to some of the recordings and he'll go, people listen to you? So write it out. Am I seeing you write left-handed?
I'm right-handed, and you know what? I'm on my goal card, because Neno was talking about, carrying your goal cards. I carried my goal card yesterday when I went out with my family, and I put it in my pocket. When I got to my sister's house, I took out my note cards, and I didn't realize that I put them not on her sink. I just, when I got there, I put them there. When she walks in, I was saying hi to my niece and nephew, and I was hugging them, and she's like, nice goal card. Let's see how you do today. And in the goal, I said, have better relationships with everybody. And at the end of the day, she said, well, you didn't do so bad today. She's like, I'll give you an 8.5 today, but let's see how you do tomorrow. And I'm like, well, thanks for the feedback.
And so that's a perfect example. Now, here's the thing. When you decide to go back out dating, go back out with the intention of not having to change. Because patterns are patterns, and you may want to go back out to be who you were, because that's what's familiar. when you go back out and be who you are, don't be surprised that you wind up with a whole new set of connections. Because as you start to write these goal cards, and as you start to move forward in an energetic level, we are the average of the 5 people we hang around most. Don't be surprised if you're hanging around 5 new people. And here's the old story. Here's the old story. The old story is, but I don't want them to leave. They're not leaving. You're moving forward. They have the right to join you.
Yeah.
They
And
don't
I
have
can
the right
see
to
that.
keep you.
I've seen that because I've stopped talking to some people, and I noticed, like, after reflecting in the evening, it's that their energy doesn't vibe at the same level as mine anymore. And
Yep.
to grow, we have to, you know, keep going and moving forward. And now they're chasing me and looking for me and say, hey, what happened? Where have you been? I'm like, hey, you know, and I speak positively, and I keep that same, you know, positive mindset when I'm talking to them, and now they're getting it. If they don't have anything great to say, then the conversation changes, or the conversation kind of ends. You know, I end up telling them, oh, well, it was nice chatting with you. Have a good day. You know, I don't let that energy come anywhere near me anymore. Whereas before, I would just let everybody's negativity and their thoughts and opinions of, you know, and those friends are the people that just constantly had to say, or constantly say, all men are the same, all men are bad, all men. And I'm like, no, there are great men out there. There are great people out there. It's just about attracting and manifesting the person that you want. And now they don't even talk about that anymore, because they know that I'm just going to sprinkle on positivity.
Yep.
And
yeah,
rebuke.
when you start to live in your energy, don't have to worry about somebody else's.
Right.
Awesome. Does that help?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Edith,
and
thank you
wanted
for being
to-
here.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody. I love hearing all your comments and everybody jumping in. And I'm glad that I finally raised my hand, because I was going to do that yesterday. And I'm glad that I raised my hand today. And, you know, I was like, okay, I need to show my face, because I want to be involved, and I want to be on regularly. And I'm working on trying to wake up early.
Hey, listen, I'm glad you watched the replays. We're just
Yeah.
blessed to have you here no matter when you show up.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Love you, Edith.
Love you too. Thank you. And I love you, Liz. I made a friend from Nendo's and Sean's. Now we're buddies.
Yay.
We Zoomed the other day. So thank you, Sean, for connecting us too.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for making the world a better place, both of y'all.
Likewise.
Hey, let's go to New York. Leo, if he's still there.
I am alive and in the flesh, Sean. I'm right here with you
Good to
all.
see you, brother.
Oh my God, it's so great to be here with you, Sean, and to be with all of you beautiful people. Wow, where do I start? I got to say, this week has been full of breakthroughs. It's character building. I notice when I hide, and I've noticed a few things that brought out emotions, especially from yesterday's call, where we were all standing for Corinne. Corinne, my love, it's great to see you in the flesh, as well as you know, Vaj and Moshe and just Asher and everyone that shared yesterday. I think it was so beautiful. One of my breakthroughs this week is I finally filmed a video for Instagram. So I'm really excited about that. But I got to tell you, Sean, it took me 6 hours to film a 3-minute video.
So what'd you learn from that?
Oh man, that perfection is the killer of progress.
Yep.
And I wanted it to be perfect. I wrote out.
John is the new perfect. And what's going to happen? So let me let you in on a little secret. Did you happen to save any of the first videos?
I did, but I deleted most of them.
So here's the thing. So follow me on this. What's going to happen when you listen, just go do your first video. Do you want them to take 6 hours?
No.
No.
Not at all.
So tell them that. Let them know, hey, listen, I did the stupid thing trying to make it perfect.
And the great thing, Sean, is that I was asked, I was invited. The video was a MCM video, which is like man, what is that, Monday, like the Monday Men thing that they highlight men, and it was for a dance page, and I felt so honored to be invited to share my story. And you know, I wrote out everything I wanted to speak about in that video. It was about 3.5 pages long. And then I'm thinking about it. I'm like, my message is great, yes, but it doesn't have to be where, you know, I'm like, it's just verbal diarrhea to everybody, telling everyone, you know, what I'm doing and where everything started. They just need I guess they just need the meat and potatoes. And that's what took me 6 hours to understand, is that it didn't have to be perfect. It wasn't about the background, because me and Liddy, we went to Weehawken here in New Jersey, which is the view of New York. And the whole thing is about my story, about how I grew up in New York and I started dancing because of my mom and this whole thing. And little by little, I started struggling because before I started filming, in my mind, I was like, I got this. I'm a great speaker. I can share my message. You know, I'm real personable on video, and all of that went out the window when I started, because again, I was much more about being perfect than getting it done. And it took 6 hours for me to really get that.
So you're ready for a kick in the groin?
Yes.
Probably still sucks.
It probably does. You know, as I was watching it, I was cringing, but I was like, I just gotta send it. You know, for lack of better words, excuse my language, but I was like, you know, fuck it, I just gotta send it. You know, excuse my language, guys, but it was just like, at this point, it was, you know, Liddy's an actor, and she was like, babe, just be natural, just be natural. And I'm like, I'm trying.
Nobody ever became natural by being told to be natural, just like nobody ever calmed down by being told, calm down.
Yep. And there was so many times when Liddy was trying to pull me away to have dinner, I was like, no, one more time. And that's my, you know, that's my persistence, of course, and just me, you know, just also feeling like, what the heck? Why is this, you know, not working the way I wanted to? But then I definitely understood that perfection is the killer of my progress, and that has been running my show with my business, and it's been running the show and dance, and I think it's just been running the show in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it stopped me from doing, you know, it has stopped me from doing so many different things that I'm like, I know I'm great, that I can do it. I believe in myself. I have a history in which I accomplished so many different things in my life, but yet I'm still here. You know, I'm so grateful. I have this blissful discontent where I'm so grateful, but at the same time, I'm like, why am I not making the phone calls I need to make to build my business? Why am I not focused on getting to the next rank? And then
you're in the way. You know, I love you. You're in the way. Because here's the thing. How many phone calls in a day is a lot for you?
In this, I would say 50 to 100 calls is a lot, because I used to do 150, 200 calls a day.
Cool. So how many is a lot now? How many could you do now? Yeah, but you're not used to it because you haven't done it. How long ago was
Exactly.
You're
I
like,
haven't hit the gym, Sean. I haven't hit the gym. I'm struggling with these dumbbells.
I love how we all tell ourselves, oh man, I used to do this. I used to look handsome. I used to have brown hair.
You're still handsome, Sean, by the way. I mean, now in my current lifestyle, I feel
How many
like
did you make yesterday?
I made one phone call yesterday.
Cool. So what if I gave you the secret to double it?
I would love that.
Cool. Call 2 today.
Yes.
Why do we make it tough? Okay, listen, Leo, if you add up the number of hours that we've done the Daily Awakening just this week, go from last week, go from Rhonda's 3 hours to Sunday 5 hours to all of the hours we did this week to yesterday 5 hours.
4 hours. Yeah.
Right? So we're at 20, 30 hours. You want my script? Show your ass up. That's my script. That's my perfection. Pay attention. I was looking in my journal. Glenn Morshower, pretty cool actor, says in his Dirty Dozen this thing about about age is wisdom. I met a bunch of elderly idiots. Age is not wisdom. Paying attention makes you wiser. Paying attention in time gives you something nobody else could ever have. That's me right now. I've always paid attention. From a very early age, I paid attention. I've just been paying attention for a lot longer than most people. I mean, really paying attention. Listen, you spend 6 hours making a video. You know, I love you. I'm helping you break a pattern. You spent 6 hours making a video. How long is the video you turned in?
About 3:45, three and a half to 3:45.
So 4 minutes. How long do you think they're going to watch it?
Less than a minute.
And
they'll probably fast forward it.
How long are they going to remember it? So, yeah, give me 6 hours of your life for them to not remember anything. You know what they'd remember? You showing up and just, hey, listen, I got about 3 minutes here. I'm from New York. I'm sitting in my office. I was going to go out to Teterboro, whatever, Wee Neck, something place, and kind of bullshit story on a video on a bridge. So I had great background. Let me just tell you about me. I'm from New York. My girlfriend and I, we absolutely love dancing. This is Man Crush Monday. And listen, all I can tell you is that if I ever get to have you in my studio, I'm going to fall in love with you. I don't know.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Can I share something, Sean?
Yeah.
See, Leo, this band is like, I swear, I think we were brothers like gazillion years ago.
We're Astro Brothers. We're Astro Brothers.
No, you're not. Hold on, hang on. Moshe wouldn't spend 6 hours doing a video.
Well,
that's why I came on here to tell you. That's why I came on here to tell you. Like, your time is so valuable that what I like from what I see from you is that what you should be spending your time is actually talking to people, right? Not spending it on that like little video where you in those 6 hours you could have impacted maybe over 1,000 people just by being on the live, right? And just being raw and uncut, just like Sean is being, you know. And this is coming from a kid who used to be at 5 years old in speech class because I was so afraid to talk, right? But when teachers would check my answers, they're like, why don't you talk? You know all the answers. Because I was afraid of the world, right? And every time I try to sell myself that old story of, you know, that child, I say, no, you know, I'm worth it, right? People need to hear how strong my mind is so that they can go and say, I can do that too, just like what Sean always tells us every single day. So, brother, you're a beautiful man. You know how to dance. You have a great heart, and just show that. People will learn your story as they see you, you know, flower. And
so watch this. Watch this. Suppose, let's see here. I hold up this book, and you see expose the clothes, but inside the book is a cartoon. Why are you trying to be the cover of a book when you ain't even be in the book? You're trying to create the cover, and they're going to read the book when they get to know you? Listen, you guys meet me in person. You're going to go, here's the first thing you'll say. Wow, you're taller than I thought you were. and then after that, it's like, you're the same here as you are everywhere. If you came to my house, when I walk out my office door here, this would be the same person you see out sitting on the couch as you see sitting here. I stopped trying to pretend a long time ago because when I tried to pretend, I didn't show up very well. And I'm not saying you're pretending, but you're trying to be, you've not done a 3-minute and 45-second video for these people before. Tell them. Well, they invited me because of my dance. Well, then you should dance the video. Stop trying to be a speaker.
And I wanted to share something about the calls, about your daily calls. You see how Sean said, you want me to tell you the secret to doubling it? Make 2 calls. So I used to sell cars, and I was terrified.
Where?
In Westchester.
I was at Paragon Honda.
I used to be in Terrytown Honda.
Look at that.
So, so I'm so terrified of the phone until one day I said, you know what? I'm just gonna do 1 call every 5 minutes, right? 1 call every 5 minutes, because you only need 5 minutes to see if somebody's going to be interested or not, right? And just the fact that you did that small little action, you're subconsciously programming your mind to doing that process over and over again, right? And so the law of compounding effect sets into motion, right? Into action, right? Like you're sending that out there. And then all of a sudden, you know, the sales start coming in. The people start calling you, right? And it just starts happening, even though you're not getting the result right there, because that's what it is, right? Like you want the call to get the result, right. But just you doing the action would just the same with us doing these live videos, which is something that I was also terrified of doing until my best friend and I just said, you know what, let's just do it. And when you do it, it's like you get that weight lifted off your shoulder, right? Like you already did 1, now you can do another one.
Yeah.
Right? And that's it. Just
it's like those small victories, you know, it's what builds up confidence. And
yeah, we can keep talking about it. We can keep talking about it. How many calls are you going to make today?
I'm gonna make 5 calls today.
No, you're not gonna. You're gonna make 2, and then if you want to, you can make 3. But commit to 2.
Okay. I commit to 2 calls today.
Yeah. And that's and I can just feel it in your body going, what a schmuck. I can do more than 2. You can, but commit to 2. I don't care if you do 200. But commit to 2.
And what was that quote that you shared with me, Sean? I would love for you to share that with him about Einstein.
Einstein said, make everything as simple as possible, not simpler.
Yeah. And also it deals in the world of integrity. You know, it's like if
you're not keeping to yourself. Now,
no.
you want me to show you how to make, I could have you make, it's 114 for you. I could show you how you can make 500 calls today and you wouldn't blink an eye.
How?
I'll take Liddy over to the top of the Empire State Building, and by midnight tonight, I'll throw her off if you don't have 500 done.
It'll be done.
I know. So why is 5 hard? Because you're doing it for you.
Yeah, I am doing it for me.
But you're going to have to do it for you. So that's why commit to 2. And then if you go, I did 2, I could do 1 more. But I only said 2. 2's good, but 3's better. But this is now icing. This isn't you made the commitment. You reached it. You can put the check box in the Franklin Covey planner. They had the little square box. And the simple act of, Benjamin Franklin said, the simple act of checking off an accomplishment changes your DNA, activates epigenetics, shows you're worthy, shows you kept your contract with you. So go do 50. I don't give a rat's butt, but commit to 2.
That right there, what you just said, Sean, just it hit me. You know, it's the accomplishment, and in my mind, I have, you know, of course, we have all these goals in our mind, and it's written down. But if you don't do it, it keeps knocking at your worth. And I feel that that is what happens, you know, especially when I delve in the world of trying to be perfect. It doesn't get done, so it knocks more of my confidence out, where I feel like, you know, the 6 hours that I spent on the video is because maybe, you know, I wasn't confident enough to share my story. So I had to act like the speaker. I had to act like this inspirational person. I had to share a couple of quotes here and there to, you know, shape up what I may deem as worthy so that people can listen to me.
Did they ask you to do the video because they saw that?
No.
They asked you to do the video for who they knew.
Right.
Yeah. So do you know how my calls end?
With
it's going to be, you're thinking about the ending of the call. Two different things.
Okay.
Do you know how my commitment ends when I do my calls?
No.
I click the start button. My commitment's over. What happens on the call is beyond me. My commitment to the call is to click the start button.
To just start it.
We're now 4 hours into this call. All I did was click the start button.
I mean, Sean, how do you go from this idea that you had to like actively starting it without any, I guess, hesitations or trepidations?
So all of these recordings that I do are for my grandchildren.
Right.
And my great-great-grandchildren. Whether you guys see them or not, I could really care less. It feeds my ego. But the reason that I do these is because there's going to be a lesson here that I won't be able to give to my kids or my grandkids or my great-great-grandkids or my great-great-great-great-grandkids. So I'm deciding to leave a legacy where most people just talk about it. So how could I not show up?
Sean, can I share something with Leo?
Sure.
Hi, Jess.
Hi, you okay?
Hey.
My heart's beating really fast. I just feel like I have to share this. But Will Smith once said that when he was doing like a skydive, he was standing on the plane with the person behind him with the parachute, and he said, they tell you to count on 3. And so you're standing there and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to count. And when I get to 3, then I'll jump, right? Now he says, when they do the count and they go 1, 2, which number do you think they jump on?
On 2.
Right. They jump on 2 because they know on 3, you're thinking, I'm not going to do it. Okay, so the person behind you who's got the parachute, who knows it's all good, on 2, he's going to push you and you're going to go out that plane, you're going to love it. Yeah, so like Sean said, when he clicked start, that's it. He's done the action. That's it. It's when you're scared to jump, that's when you jump. And your brain is going, no, that's it, that's the time. So remember, Will Smith said, when they count 1, 2, 3, 2 is the time to go. 3 is just your mind going, no, I'm not doing that. Why, when you're going to have such a good time?
Yeah,
And
totally.
then Michael Jordan said, once I made a decision, I never had to think about it again.
Yeah.
100%. And that goes into, you know, Mel Robbins' book, The 5-Second Rule.
So Leo, I'm loving you. This is me being the big brother kicking you in the ass. You got Mel Robbins, you got Will Smith, and you got Michael Jordan. What the frick?
Now we have Leo. Woo!
You got all the answers. You know all of the answers. And so stop doing it for you and start doing it for Liddy.
Okay.
Can I share something real quick with you too? Every time that you feel that way, ask yourself 3 questions. Where are you right now? Where do you want to go? And what do you require of yourself to accomplish what you wrote down and what you think.
What is it worth right now?
Where are you right now, like in life? Where do you want to go? And what do you require of yourself to accomplish of what you wrote down? And so going back to like what Sean said about Benjamin Franklin, every time you check that action off, it makes you feel good, right?
Right.
So one thing I do is I write my whole day out and I rip it out of the page because it's an action, right? So I make sure that I have to carry this page around so I don't forget to look at my actions, and I highlight them, right? And now I don't even need them because it's just automatic, right? Even when you try to take a day off, you'll find yourself working because now you just taught yourself to do it.
That was beautiful, Moshe. I'm definitely gonna take this on. Definitely taking this on.
So there you go, folks. Daniela and Dekaya. I'm sorry, I've got a 12:30 appointment, and I love you. So please be back tomorrow, and we'll go over the conversation. But I appreciate you all. Or hit me up in Instagram, and I'll be happy to answer the questions if you think I could help you. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Vivian, thank you for getting us started off this morning. Appreciate you. I just see your camera there, and thank you for everybody that shared, and Shireen and Jessica and Delia and everybody. This was an amazing call. So I'm Sean Murphy, founder of Mental Profits. I'll see y'all where?
At the next
event. Y'all send some love to each other.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Bye, y'all. Have a super Sunday.
Bye, Corinne. I love my Corinne.
Thank you.
Bye, Corinne. Love you.
Bye. Love you
too. Bye, Corinne.
Bye. Love you, Corinne and Vaj.
Bye, Corinne. We love you.